Chapter 1597. Teacher, you're finally willing to show up again? Wu Jiong's eyes were cold, and there was a trace of resentment in his eyes. Wisps of purple light circled Wu Jiong, blocking the heavy blow from the tomb Immortal Emperor. Tomb Immortal King's face darkened. There weren't many people in the world who could easily block his attack. If it couldn't be Wu Jiong, then who could it be? Teacher? Wu Jiong's teacher? Tomb Immortal King suddenly had a bad feeling. The first 2 times were fine, but this 3rd time, he was very careful. Why did something happen again? He couldn't let anything happen again. He had to be fast. Even if he couldn't refine Wu Jiong now, he had to capture Wu Jiong. Bones all over the place. The hall was instantly filled with countless bones, and the surrounding pillars quickly turned into piles of skulls. In an instant, the entire hall was like the interior of a sea of bones. Rolling death chi surged toward Wu Jiong. Boom! The death chi was filled with corrosive power. Wherever it passed, the void quickly melted, and it instantly arrived in front of Wu Jiong. Wu Jiong sneered slightly and didn't resist at all. The previous light shield appeared again, instantly enveloping Wu Jiong and releasing waves of purple light. The purple light burned the death chi in the blink of an eye and quickly restored the hall to its original state. Tomb Immortal King's great technique was broken again. Who is it? Come out! Tomb Immortal King exclaimed. How could his great technique be broken so easily? But in front of him, it was broken again and again. Teacher, I haven't seen you in a long time. Wu Jiong also spoke. Tomb Immortal King's face turned ugly. Teacher, Wu Jiong's teacher? Buzz! At the entrance of the hall, countless purple lights condensed, gradually forming an illusory purple light figure. A purple-robed old man looked at Tomb Immortal King and Wu Jiong quietly without any sadness or joy. Hongjun, you're not dead. Tomb Immortal King said in surprise. No, you're not at the 15th level. Your strength is actually not weaker than mine. Back then, you faked your death? Why? Why did you fake your death? Tomb Immortal King's expression suddenly changed. How could there be so many monsters in the 3rd era? Tomb Immortal King? Hongjun said indifferently. Tomb Immortal King stared at Hongjun with uncertainty. You came at the right time. Hongjun said softly. What? Hongjun ignored Tomb Immortal King and looked at Wu Jiong. Wu Jiong. Teacher. Wu Jiong took a deep breath. Although there was resentment in his heart, he still said respectfully, You have anger in your heart. Do you want to vent it out? Hongjun said lightly. Disciple. Wu Jiong didn't know how to answer. I know that you have resentment in your heart. However, I am also sacrificing myself for the sake of the common people. Hongjun said. Disciple doesn't understand. Wu Jiong's expression turned ugly. At this point, Wu Jiong realized something. Hongjun wanted him to sacrifice himself, just like the other 3 senior brothers. Fate has been bewitched. It's about time. Wu Jiong, I know you have resentment in your heart. I'll fulfill your wish in the end and let you vent the hatred in your heart. Hongjun said solemnly. Wu Jiong revealed a trace of bitterness and bit his lips. In the end, an irresistible sadness brewed within him. Tomb Immortal King looked at Hongjun with a dark expression. Hongjun, I don't care what your plan is. I want Wu Jiong. Tomb Immortal King said coldly. Hongjun looked at Tomb Immortal King. You've gone astray. Tomb Immortal King's eyes widened. He had taken the unorthodox path, but it was what Tomb Immortal King was most proud of. Yet, Hongjun looked down on him like this. It's none of your business. Hongjun, you hid it from everyone in the world and imprisoned the great virtue supremacy. One of the strongest experts of the first epoch is actually something in your cage. You're really shrewd. However, in the end, you're still working for someone else. I don't care what your cultivation is. I'm taking Wu Jiong away today. As he spoke, he reached out to grab Wu Jiong. Hongjun held a horsetail whisk in his right hand. He looked in front of him, narrowed his eyes, and swung the horsetail whisk. Roar! The 3,000 floating whisk threads suddenly turned into 3,000 by long threads and instantly wrapped around Tomb Immortal King. Rumble. The rolling by long surged over. Tomb Immortal King's expression changed, and he struck out with his palm. However, these by long threads were extremely agile. They bypassed the palm and tied up Tomb Immortal King in the blink of an eye. Whoosh! In just an instant, Tomb Immortal King was trapped among the 3,000 by long threads. Tomb Immortal King's expression changed. Just one move, and I've been suppressed? How is that possible? Hong Jun, you're courting death. Tomb Immortal King roared. His right arm shone with 19-colored light. Bang! Bang! Immediately, a large number of by long threads were broken. Tomb Immortal King's power was monstrous. He struggled with great force, and by long threads were broken one by one. However, there were more than 3,000 by long threads. Even though Tomb Immortal King kept twisting, he couldn't completely break free from Hong Jun's restraints. Hong Jun looked coldly at Tomb Immortal King before turning to look at Wu Jiong. Wu Jiong, remember what I said. You have no choice, Hong Jun said in a deep voice. Wu Jiong's face was filled with grief and hatred, but he was helpless in front of Hong Jun. Teacher, please give me strength. I want to go crazy again. At least I won't disappear so miserably, Wu Jiong said with a hateful expression. That's what I want to do too. Since Tomb Immortal King has personally delivered himself to me, it's best that I refine his power into your body and help you forcefully break through, Hong Jun said. What? Tomb Immortal King's expression changed. Did he hear wrongly? He was here to refine Wu Jiong. Why was he being refined instead? Impossible. Hong Jun, you can only trap me at most. You can't refine me, Tomb Immortal King said coldly. Hong Jun's expression was still cold. He threw out the horsetail, whisk in his hand. Boom! The 3,000 by long threads bound Tomb Immortal King, but its tail suddenly wrapped around Wu Jiong. The 3,000 by long threads quickly bit Tomb Immortal King's body. Immediately, waves of power were extracted. What kind of Dharma treasure is this? How can it extract the power of my birth chart? Tomb Immortal King exclaimed. Rumble. Surging power surged toward Wu Jiong. The by long threads grew larger and larger. They quickly wrapped around Wu Jiong, as if forming a large cocoon. Rumble. Power surged toward Wu Jiong. The Tomb Immortal King could sense that his strength was rapidly diminishing as it was being forcefully extracted. Hong Jun, you liar! Tomb Immortal King roared in shock. Who would have thought that Hong Jun was so powerful? Was this still the same Hong Jun who challenged the heavens and failed? Inyang Tomb break. Tomb Immortal King roared in shock. Boom! Surging power rushed out again. The by long threads expanded, but they were all blocked. Tomb Immortal King couldn't break free at all. The restrictions around Tomb Immortal King disappeared. However, with Hong Jun here, the hall was naturally stronger. Rumble. Tomb Immortal King struggled with all his might, but Hong Jun stood at the side and watched coldly, suppressing Tomb Immortal King. Impossible. How can you be so powerful? How can you be so strong? Tomb Immortal King cried out in grief and hatred. He was also one of the best in the 18 levels of heaven, but he couldn't do anything to Hong Jun. Endless grief and hatred brewed in his heart. Not long ago, Dongfang Booby said that he couldn't succeed, but he didn't believe it. Now, could he succeed against Hong Jun? He was going to refine the grand virtuous supremacy, but instead, he was refined by the grand virtuous supremacy? No! Tomb Immortal King wanted to erupt with even more power. Time stopped. Buzz. Everything in the hall suddenly stopped. Only Hong Jun was left, and he could easily extract Tomb Immortal King's power. Tomb Immortal King was frozen there, motionless. He couldn't even move his eyeballs. At this moment, Tomb Immortal King finally understood that he had kicked an iron plate this time, and it was an iron plate that was countless times stronger than before. Tomb Immortal King wanted to cry. No matter how much regret he had, it couldn't make up for the desolation in his heart. Was he really that weak? Whoosh! The rolling essence was absorbed, The right half of Tomb Immortal King's body was also rapidly drying up, and the left half of his bones were slowly turning into powder. No! Tomb Immortal King cried out in grief. Rumble! The power of Tomb Immortal King's fate was extracted, and the entire undying territory shook. The Immortal King Palace was shaking, and the ground was shaking. Countless Tomb Immortal King disciples rushed over. Elder, what's going on? Why does the undying territory look like it's about to be destroyed? Elder, the paint of the Immortal King Palace is peeling. This was refined by the Patriarch. Could something have happened to the Patriarch? Countless Tomb Immortal King disciples revealed a look of fear. Tomb Immortal King in Taiji Palace was even more terrified. The left half of his body had completely turned into powder, and the right half of his body had been completely absorbed. The other half of his body was slowly becoming skin and bones, and even gradually turning into powder. No, I'm unwilling. I'm unwilling. Tomb Immortal King cried out with grief and hatred. Boom! Tomb Immortal King completely exploded. All of his power surged into the light cocoon, and the surging power continued to fill Wu Jiong's body. I'll teach you the Heaven Ascension realm to help you refine it as soon as possible. Hong Jun looked at the cocoon and said solemnly. With a wave of his hand, surging purple light surged into the light cocoon. The entire Taiji Palace was emitting a dazzling light. Undying territory. Boom! The Immortal King Palace collapsed. Rumble. The power of the entire undying domain abruptly gathered towards the collapsed Immortal King Palace. The power of life and death rapidly converged. In an instant, the entire territory's vitality was extinguished, and only a desert was left. Other than the Tomb Immortal King, countless living beings had turned into piles of bones. It was at the Immortal King Palace. A human-shaped skeleton slowly crawled out. That is, everyone exclaimed. Tomb Immortal King rushed over in shock. How can this be? Patriarch? It's you? Ah! Countless disciples exclaimed in shock. Patriarch, you've ascended, immortalized, and reborn again. What happened? The skeleton in the tomb exclaimed. I actually died. Haha, what a joke, what a joke. Fortunately, I was able to ascend. Unfortunately, after absorbing the power of an entire territory, I only have the power of a 6th-stage ancestral immortal. What a joke, what a joke. The skeleton tomb Immortal King cried out in grief. Patriarch, how can this be? All right, Immortal King, bring everyone to the Eastern Territory immediately. Tomb Immortal King said with a sorrowful expression. Chapter 1598. Luoyang City, the entrance of Taiji Palace. The officials gathered anxiously in the square of Taiji Palace. Above their heads, above the sea of providence clouds, providence, merit, fortune, and fortune were all rapidly dissipating. It showed that the Great Zhou realm was collapsing. Di Renjia, Yuan Tiangang, Princess Taiping, and the others paced back and forth in the square. What should we do? Another 3 domains have submitted to Great Zhou. Shengwanwaner or that bitch. Princess Taiping said anxiously. Not just 3, but 5. Shengwanwaner is indeed powerful. She has actually instigated so many officials to defect over the years. Yuan Tiangang frowned. But why did the great emperor choose to go into seclusion at this time? Di Renjia was also anxious. Everyone was anxious, but there was nothing they could do. A group of guards blocked the officials. As long as Wu Jiong did not give the order, no one was allowed to enter. Mother! Princess Taiping shouted anxiously outside the hall. Inside the hall, Hongjuan's phantom looked quietly at the large cocoon in front of him. Rumble! Rumbling sounds came from the large cocoon. Boom! With a loud sound, as if the giant cocoon had broken free, Wu Jiong emitted a golden light that illuminated the entire hall. His eyes were filled with 18 colors, dazzling and eye-catching. Bai Long in the large cocoon turned into a horsetail whisk again and landed in Hongjuan's hand. Hongju nodded. Wu Jiong looked at his hands and seemed to feel endless power in an instant. The feeling of dominating heaven and earth made Wu Jiong feel extremely comfortable. This was power, invincible power. Turning his head, Wu Jiong looked coldly at Hongjuan's phantom. Hongjun was not nervous. His expression was indifferent. The phantom became fainter and fainter, as if it was gradually disappearing. Wu Jiong clenched his fists but did not attack Hongjun in the end. Wu Jiong knew that Hongjuan's ability was not something he could compare to. Gradually, Hongjuan's shadow disappeared as if it had never been there. Crack, crack, crack. There was a crisp sound in the hall. It was obvious that the restriction that Hongjun had set up earlier had quickly dissipated. Hongjun had disappeared. Wu Jiong also stepped toward the entrance of the hall. Quang! The door of the hall opened with a bang. Outside the hall, the officials of Great Zhou were extremely anxious. Princess Taiping was even prepared to risk her life to barge into the hall. Suddenly, the door opened. A powerful aura rushed out of the door. Boom! The nearby experts were immediately sent flying by this aura. Mother Empress, you finally came out, Princess Taiping said excitedly. Greetings, Great Emperor. The officials all bowed respectfully. Wu Jiong nodded and walked out. Rumble. Above his head, providence, merit, luck, and fortune were lost again. But Wu Jiong's expression was calm, as if he did not care. Yuan Tiangang looked at Wu Jiong in surprise. The Great Emperor had become stronger? Great Emperor, what's wrong with you? Di Renjia also noticed that something was amiss. Wu Jiong's eyes now seemed to have a kind of solemn and stirring feeling. What was going on? However, Wu Jiong ignored them and turned to look towards the south. In the south, territories were being taken over by the Great Jin army. Ingwan, Wu Jiong's face darkened. This was because Wu Jiong knew that the commander of this attack on the Great Zhou realm was Shangwan, whom he had trusted greatly in the past. She was the one who destroyed Wu Jiong's empire. Unfortunately, Ingwaner did not personally come to the western outer continent. Turning his head, Wu Jiong looked at the eastern outer continent and Xianyang City. Xianyang City's providence was overwhelming. Countless providence, merit, fortune were lost from the Great Zhou dynasty and gathered in Xianyang. Founding Emperor? So what if he's the founding emperor? This is the last time. Let me turn Xianyang upside down, Wu Jiong said coldly. The difference in strength between him and Yin Chuan was huge. Originally, he could only look up to Yin Chuan. Now that he had reached the 18th heaven, the extinguished jealousy in the past erupted again. Boom! Wu Jiong stepped toward Xianyang. Mother Empress, Great Emperor. Zhao was at the entrance of Taiji Palace, but no one could stop Wu Jiong's final madness. No one. Tomb Immortal King was forced to ascend, and all his previous strength was gone. His powerful strength made everything seem laughable. Looking at his skeletal body, he only had the strength of a sixth heaven ancestral immortal. To mortals, a sixth heaven ancestral immortal was already extremely powerful, but now this strength was laughable. The Tomb Immortal clan gathered. Patriarch, Tomb Immortal King said with a complicated expression. Let's go to the Eastern Dominion. Tomb Immortal King said bitterly. Yes, everyone answered. Tomb Immortal King made a move and led all the Tomb Immortal clan disciples to the Eastern Dominion. Patriarch, why are we going to the Eastern Dominion? Tomb Immortal King asked curiously. Now that I've been reborn, it's not possible to recover my strength to the peak in a short time. So, there's no one guarding the Undying Dominion. If there's an attack now, my Tomb Immortal clan might be destroyed. Tomb Immortal King said solemnly. Then what about the Three Lives Stone? Tomb Immortal King asked unwillingly. The Three Lives Stone is useless now. Let's go. Tomb Immortal King said solemnly. Yes, Patriarch, what happened when we went to the Great Zhou world? Tomb Immortal King asked curiously. Happened? Tomb Immortal King's face turned sinister. It's Hong, Tomb Immortal King said. However, halfway through his words, he suddenly stopped. A powerful will surged into his mind. Hong what? Tomb Immortal King asked in confusion. At this moment, Tomb Immortal King was shocked. Because just as Tomb Immortal King was about to mention Hong Jun's intent rushed into his mind. Don't mention me. Hong Jun's voice exploded in his mind. Tomb Immortal King's face turned cold. He thought that he had escaped Hong Jun after his rebirth, but he didn't expect that he was still under Hong Jun's control. How strong was Hong Jun? Patriarch? Tomb Immortal King asked curiously. All right, enough nonsense. Let's go. Tomb Immortal King said solemnly. Oh, everyone answered. They flew toward the Eastern Dominion. When they reached the Middle Heaven continent, boom! Suddenly, a storm rushed in front of them, leaving behind a rolling storm as it rushed toward Xianyang. Wu Jiong, that's Wu Jiong. When did she become so strong? Tomb Immortal King exclaimed. That powerful aura made even Tomb Immortal King tremble with fear. Tomb Immortal King was at the 16th heaven. Wu Jiong was at most on par with him in the past, but now he felt like she could crush him. Wu Jiong. Tomb Immortal King's face darkened. Although his cultivation had dropped, he still had the ability to connect with the heavenly Tao. Through the heavenly Tao, Tomb Immortal King's gaze followed Wu Jiong towards Xianyang. 18th heaven. Tomb Immortal King gritted his teeth. That was his power, but it had nothing to do with him anymore. Virtuous sovereign? Tomb Immortal King smiled bitterly. He wanted to let the world know, but in the end, he realized that he had become a foil to the world. Xianyang City. Father, Mother, today, 5 Wees have submitted at the same time. The Great Zhou Celestial Realm is only left with 9 weaves. It's almost gone. Princess Wen excitedly reported to Yin Chuan and Zhao Afang. Good. Wen did well. Yin Chuan praised. Meow. Princess Wen did well. Meow chimed in with a smile. Of course. Princess Wen hugged Meow. She lovingly stroked Meow's fur. Yin Chuan looked at the sky. It's almost time. Yin Chuan took a deep breath. Almost what? Zhao Afang asked. When the 4 realms merge, only the western outer continent is left. Yin Chuan frowned. Most of the 4 realms had merged. The netherworld had long since merged, leaving only the western outer continent in the Yang realm. Once it merged, the 4 realms would completely merge. When the 4 realms merge, fate will appear. Zhao Afang's expression was complicated. Father, why not wait? Let's not merge the last western outer continent. Princess Wen said worriedly. It's no use. Even if I don't merge them, fate will forcefully merge them when the time comes. Yin Chuan said in a low voice. Oh, when we merge the continents, if we don't do it, fate will do it. We merge ahead of time in order to cater to our own rhythm. But we can't stop it. Yin Chuan frowned. Oh, Princess Wen frowned and sighed. Yin Chuan's expression suddenly darkened as he looked to the west. Boom! A loud sound of something breaking through the air, accompanied by a strong wind, swept across the eastern sea. Yin Chuan looked over and saw Wu Jiong flying over from the west. Wu Jiong. Yin Chuan's expression darkened. Quickly, Yin Chuan flew to the skyward palace. Before Wu Jiong arrived, a strong aura had already swept across Xianyang. A large number of officials gathered from all directions. Meow, what's going on? Meow asked curiously. Boom! A strong wind swept across Xianyang, and Xianyang's array was quickly activated. Ha! Wu Jiong's laughter came from outside the city. He waved his hand. Boom! A huge golden palm print suddenly appeared and crashed into Xianyang's array. Crash! Countless arrays in Xianyang shattered. Against the 18 levels of heaven, these arrays were extremely weak. The huge aura suppressed countless commoners, making them unable to raise their heads. Yin Chuan's expression darkened as he struck out with his palm. Boom! Under the huge force, the void was torn apart, and a loud sound shook the 9 heavens. Under Yin Chuan's protection, Xianyang was able to remain unharmed. However, Yin Chuan was shocked by the exchange of palms just now. Wu Jiong, 18 levels of heaven, Yin Chuan said in surprise. Whoosh! Yin Chuan flew out of Xianyang City and stood in midair. He looked coldly at Wu Jiong, and a trace of surprise flashed across his eyes. How long had it been? How did Wu Jiong's strength suddenly become so strong? 18 levels of heaven. He jumped 2 levels of heaven in a row. As expected of the first emperor, you are still so fierce, Wu Jiong said coldly. Wu Jiong, what are you doing? In the war between the two dynasties, everyone will rely on their own means. Why? You're no match for them, so you want to do it yourself? Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. So what if I do it myself? Yin Chuan, I have never been so deceived. Shangguan Wan, I trusted her in vain. Today, I am here to kill Shangguan Wan, and vent the hatred in my heart. Wu Jiong said with a ferocious expression. Wu Jiong, are you crazy? Yin Chuan looked at Wu Jiong in surprise. Chapter 1599. Wu Jiong, are you crazy? Yin Chuan looked at Wu Jiong in surprise. Had Wu Jiong gone crazy? He was still in Xianyang, but she had come here to cause trouble? Yin Chuan could see that Wu Jiong was surrounded by 18 colors. Even if she was at the 18th heaven, she shouldn't have come here just to settle a personal grudge. Moreover, he was still in Xianyang, and both of his bodies were at the 18th heaven. Crazy? Ha ha! Wu Jiong laughed. Wu Jiong had indeed gone crazy. Who could remain calm when they knew they were about to die? At this moment, Wu Jiong only wanted to go crazy and vent the endless depression in her heart. Since birth, she had been protected like a bird in a cage. She could only watch as her husband died, but she could not do anything. She could only continue to pretend that she did not know and continue to face people coldly. Great Tao dragon form, Wu Jiong shouted and struck at Xianyang. The energy palm turned into a dragon claw with a domineering aura. Bastard! Yin Chuan's eyes were filled with anger. Boom! He met Wu Jiong's palm and exchanged a heavy blow. The void was torn apart, and the stars in the starry sky trembled. The entire true dragon territory shook violently. Under the palm, Wu Jiong retreated slightly. In terms of palm power, Yin Chuan was slightly stronger. Only slightly stronger? Yin Chuan raised his brows. How did Wu Jiong's strength suddenly increase so much? She was almost on par with the tomb Immortal King. Yin Chuan did not know that Wu Jiong's strength was the tomb Immortal King's strength. Boom! Yin Chuan punched again, forcing Wu Jiong off the ground and toward the starry sky. So what if it's the first emperor? Break! Wu Jiong shouted. Boom! 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 The two peerless powerhouses fought quickly. Waves of explosions shook the world. The tomb Immortal King, who was flying halfway, looked into the distance in shock. Is Wu Jiong's brain damaged? The tomb Immortal King said in shock. In the Eastern Territory, the Lotus Goddess stood in the square of the Eastern Palace and looked at the starry sky. How did Wu Jiong suddenly become so strong? The Lotus Goddess said in surprise. Outer North Continent. Zhongshan looked at the battle in the distance. Qin First Emperor is fighting Wu Ziqian? Huh. Zhongshan laughed out loud. Zhongshan was not worried about Yin Chuan. He only felt that the scene was a little strange. Rumble. The battle in the starry skies continued. Yin Chuan won against Wu Jiong, but not by much. The two of them gradually entered the starry sky during the great battle. Gradually, they were forced into limitless by Yin Chuan. Sha Di, Zhongshan, and the other peerless experts all rushed into Wuji to watch the shocking battle. Within the great Qin city, zombie Yin Chuan deeply breathed in and also entered the world of the living. He then rushed into the sky and entered limitless. Zombie Yin Chuan didn't interfere. He just watched from afar with a strange look in his eyes. Great Emperor, is Wu Jiong out his mind? Sha Di asked blankly. Zombie Yin Chuan shook his head, unable to figure it out. Wu Jiong wouldn't become stronger for no reason, nor would he be so reckless. But Zombie Yin Chuan's expression was complicated. Boom! Boom! After fighting for a while in limitless, Yin Chuan fiercely suppressed Wu Jiong. The more Wu Jiong fought, the more irritated he became. Wu Jiong, what are you doing? The Great Zhou realm has already lost. Give up. Zombie Yin Chuan said coldly. No, teacher. Wu Jiong shouted unwillingly. Teacher? Zombie Yin Chuan's expression changed. Hongjun? Hongjun asked Wu Jiong to attack. What was he going to do? Wu Jiong didn't call Hong Jun, but Hong Jun's thoughts suddenly appeared in Wu Jiong's mind. If you can't beat him, just revive your previous life and collect all the merits in the world for your own use. Then, you can defeat Yin Chuan. Hong Jun's voice suddenly entered Wu Jiong's mind. A virtuous venerate? Wu Jiong's face fell. Wu Jiong knew about his previous life. His strength had increased, but he hadn't revived his previous life's consciousness. This was because Wu Jiong knew that once the consciousness of his previous life was born, it would have an impact on his current life. At this moment, he was being suppressed by Yin Chuan. How could he vent his feelings freely? Roar! Wu Jiong roared. Immediately, endless golden light burst out and broke free from Yin Chuan's attack. Buzz! Rays of yellow light suddenly emitted from Wu Jiong's body. As the yellow light spread, his body suddenly emitted a series of crisp, cracking sounds. Crack! 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 It was as if the sealed memories of his previous life had been revived. Buzz! Countless merits appeared around Wu Jiong in an instant. Merits of the world, return! Wu Jiong shouted. Boom! In the world of the living and the world of the netherworld, countless merits surged and gathered toward Wuji. Roar! In Xianyang City, the golden dragon of merits roared and rushed into the sky. Roar! In the outer North Continent, the surging merits turned into a giant dragon and rushed into the sky. Roar! In Luoyang City, merits surged and instantly soared into the sky. It was the Eastern sect. At this moment, countless merits suddenly rushed into the sky above Lotus Goddess's head. Lotus Goddess's expression changed. Don't interfere. Suddenly, a voice sounded in Lotus Goddess's ears. Master? Lotus Goddess looked at Dongfang Hall, not far away in surprise. The door of the hall did not open, but Dongfang Booby's voice sounded. Yes, Lotus Goddess replied. After thinking for a moment, Lotus Goddess also rushed into Wuji with the merits. Rumble. Merits surged in from all directions. A crystalline figure suddenly appeared around Wu Jiong. The crystal slowly condensed into Wu Jiong's body. In my previous life, our consciousnesses fused. I don't ask for much. Follow me and fight Yin Chuan. Wu Jiong shouted. As you wish. A voice sounded. Buzz. The crystal entered Wu Jiong's body. In an instant, countless merits rushed into Wu Jiong's body. Roar, 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 rumble. As the merits surged in, Wu Jiong's aura became stronger and stronger. The countless merits instantly caused Wu Jiong's strength to soar. In an instant, countless auspicious clouds appeared around Wuji. Even though they were melted by Wuji, they continued to increase. In the blink of an eye, they formed a sea of auspicious clouds that enveloped Yin Chuan and Wu Jiong. Virtuous heaven and earth. Wu Jiong let out a loud roar as countless dragon-shaped phantoms surrounded his body. He slammed his palm towards Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan's face darkened as he struck back. Boom! The two palms collided, and Yin Chuan was immediately sent flying. Wu Jiong's strength had more than doubled. Almost all the merits in the world were absorbed into Wu Jiong's body. The surging power caused the expressions of the people in the distance to change drastically. Even the human Yin Chuan was forced to retreat. However, this was not the key. The key was that the grand virtuous venerate had appeared, and fate had discovered it again. Zombie Yin Chuan suddenly shouted from afar, Zhongshan, begin. In the distance, Zhongshan's expression changed. He turned around and charged into the sky. Boom! The vast will of fate rushed toward Yin Chuan again. The human Yin Chuan fell into a coma. Zombie Yin Chuan suddenly stepped on the 4 of the arch altars. Because there was no resistance, Zombie Yin Chuan did not grow a second head. His eyes glowed with 19 colors as fate suddenly looked at the reincarnation of the grand virtuous venerate, Wu Jiong. Boom! Fate was suddenly right in front of him. At this moment, Wu Jiong and the grand virtuous venerate's consciousnesses were quickly merging. Both of them were at level 18, so the merging of their consciousnesses was slightly slower. Grand virtuous venerate, Have you forgotten my warning? How dare you awaken? Fate said coldly. In the distance, Lotus God's expression changed. Fate actually had its own logic, which meant that half of its consciousness had recovered. The surging merits had already entered its body. Wu Jiong and the grand virtuous venerate's consciousnesses merged. Before the two consciousnesses could answer, Wu Jiong's mouth moved by itself. Fate, if you want to fight, then let's fight. The sudden voice startled Wu Jiong and the grand virtuous venerate. They did not speak, so why did they speak? There was still a consciousness controlling his body. Wu Jiong's consciousness suddenly trembled. It was his teacher. It was Hong Jun. Even coming to find Yin Chuan to vent was part of Hong Jun's plan. Did he do it on purpose? The grand virtuous venerate's consciousness also knew that the situation was not right, so it quickly merged with Wu Jiong. The arch altar suddenly appeared under Wu Jiong's feet. It was as though Wu Jiong was mobilizing the power of the arch altar. Fate Master was astonished when he saw this. The arch altar was his power. Had the grand virtuous venerate gone mad? Was he mobilizing his power to deal with him? In Yin Chuan's sea of consciousness, looking at the vast chaos sea, Fate's net covered all the fate charts of the common people and connected them. Yin Chuan's consciousness spread out along the Fate's net. At the same time, in Xianying City, silver-eyed Yin Chuan stepped out of the hall. Meow, Butterfly Queen, it's about to begin. Prepare your divine abilities. Silver-eyed Yin Chuan said. The Butterfly Queen looked at silver-eyed Yin Chuan with a strange look in her eyes. Our second divine ability is the fusion of fate energy. The human Yin Chuan and the zombie Yin Chuan will fuse. Aren't you going to fuse with them? I'm different. I'm just a lifeless soul. I'm not as important as the two main bodies. Silver-eyed Yin Chuan shook his head. All right. The Butterfly Queen nodded. At this moment, the entire machine of Dejun began to operate quickly. Following Silver-eyed Yin Chuan's instructions, Li Si, Lu Bu Wei, and the other officials quickly got to work. Inform all the city lords and citizens to prepare to cooperate with the Arch and gather power. Yifeng ordered. Yes, outside the North Continent, at the entrance of the Hall of Immortality. Inform all the people to prepare to cooperate with Great Jun's Yin Chuan and pray for the well-being of the common people. Zhongshan ordered. Yes, at the entrance of the Hall of Immortality, countless officials also got to work. Fate had reappeared. He only had one chance. The chance was fleeting. In Wuji, Fate looked at the unconscious human Yin Chuan not far away. Under the human Yin Chuan's feet, there were 4 large sacrificial altars. At this moment, Fate was standing on 4 large sacrificial altars and 1 large sacrificial altars. Have you gathered all my things? Fine, since they're all here, let's fuse. Fate shouted. Boom. The human Yin Chuan was quickly sucked in and arrived in front of Fate in the blink of an eye. The large sacrificial altars were also rapidly expanding. In an instant, it expanded to 10,000 miles. Boom, boom, boom. 3 loud noises. The 9 large sacrificial altars fused into one. It turned into a super huge circular altar. Fate, the human Yin Chuan, and Wu Jiong stood on 3 sides of the altar. However, the human Yin Chuan was unconscious because Fate was facing the newly awakened, the arch sacrificial altars. Chapter 1600. The vast chaos sea was incomparably vast. Yin Chuan's consciousness spread out with all his might. After a while, he barely managed to spread it out. The moment it spread out, Yin Chuan connected to the Tsang life lattice. Yin Chuan's consciousness turned solemn. On the other side, the huge arch altar merged into one. Fate looked coldly at Wu Jiong opposite him. Wu Jiong and the virtuous supremacy's consciousnesses quickly merged. After the fusion, they were extremely shocked. That was because they suddenly realized that their consciousnesses could not control their bodies. His body was completely under the control of a special consciousness. Teacher, Hongjun, what are you trying to do? Wu Jiong's consciousness roared. It was Hongjun's consciousness that had taken over Wu Jiong's body. Even though Wu Jiong and the virtuous supremacy had merged and their strength was monstrous, they were still lacking when facing Hongjun. How could such an expert be born in the third epoch? Hongjun? Wu Jiong's consciousness said in shock. The strongest person in the third epoch was the former Kong Huangtian. However, in the face of Hongjun's strength, what was Kong Huangtian's cultivation level? No, even the Nether River Patriarch wasn't so exaggerated, right? How strong was Hongjun? Fate, I've recovered, but you've only recovered halfway. Why? Do you think you can stop me? Wu Jiong said coldly. However, this was Hongjun controlling Wu Jiong's body to speak. In Fate's eyes, it was the virtuous supremacy who spoke. Ah, ignorant worm. Fate shouted coldly. On the other side, Hongjun was waiting, and Fate was also preparing to attack. At this moment, Fate's expression suddenly changed. This was because Fate suddenly heard a voice. I am Yin Chuan. All living beings of the world, the four realms are about to merge. Fate has reappeared, wanting to destroy all living beings. All the heroes came one after another, but they could not stop Fate's strength. They died one after another. The apocalypse is coming. I, Yin Chuan, am not talented, but I'm willing to use my strength to resist Fate. Unfortunately, Fate is strong, and Yin Chuan is weak. Common people, this battle is related to all living beings and dead spirits in this world. Perhaps you have some wishes, some hatred, and some love in your heart, but at this moment, I ask all living beings and dead spirits to help me. Help me become the strongest. Help me destroy Fate. After this battle, I, Yin Chuan, am willing to return peace to the world. What you have given me today, I will repay you 100-fold in the future. Common people, I need the power of your birth charts. I beg you to release the lock on your heart. If I win, all of you will live together. If I lose, all of you will die. All of your love and hatred will turn into nothingness. Perhaps it's just a bit short of your strength, just a bit short of your strength, and everything will be for naught, just a bit short of your strength. Common people, release the shackles on your hearts and give me the power of your birth charts. Boom! Yin Chuan's voice was transmitted to all living beings in the world through the net of Fate. In an instant, almost everyone heard Yin Chuan's voice. Whether it was the world of the living, the netherworld, the Great Zhun, the Great Zhou, or the Great Qian, as long as one had a birth chart, they all heard Yin Chuan's voice. In the Great Zhun dynasty, the people's eyes were filled with determination. Almost everyone shouted, I'm willing, I'm willing, I'm willing. The surging power quickly passed through the net of Fate to Yin Chuan's birth charts. The serpents, monolith, dragons, phoenixes, and other major races all released the shackles on their hearts, allowing Yin Chuan to absorb their birth charts. The surging power of birth charts surged out quickly. With the help of the officials of the Great Zhun dynasty, the Great Zhun dynasty was the fastest. Then, it was the people under Zhongshan's command. Subjects of the world, please open your hearts. I, Zhongshan, swear on my reputation that Yin Chuan is telling the truth. Please cooperate. Zhongshan said. His voice reverberated throughout the world. Immediately, the people under Zhongshan's command cooperated and quickly released the shackles on their hearts. In an instant, countless miserable cries rang from all directions. Waves of birth charts were extracted, causing endless weakness. Many people were not used to it for a while. However, under the efforts of Yin Chuan and Zhongshan, the people gritted their teeth and continued to release their birth charts. In the Great Zhou realm in the Western continent, amid the chaos of war, countless people were confused. Was it true? Was the apocalypse coming? For a time, the people quickly relaxed. Although not everyone relaxed, there was still a large number of people. Yin Chuan had ordered the people to spread the news, allowing them to know how terrifying Fate was. Now that they had a chance, if they did not pay the price, they might be wiped out immediately. Although some people did not like Yin Chuan, they did not reject him at this moment. Waves of power flowed through the net of Fate and surged toward Yin Chuan's birth charts. The eyes of the grave Immortal King and the others widened in surprise. Extracting the power of birth charts? What's Yin Chuan doing? Is he going to fight against fate as well? The grave Immortal King said in surprise. Patriarch, what should we do? The grave Immortal King asked. Borrow his power, the grave Immortal King said resolutely. Although he had a grudge against Yin Chuan, the grave Immortal King immediately stood on the same side in the face of fate. Rumble. Surging power rushed toward Yin Chuan's birth charts. The power of the two Yin Chuan was increasing crazily. On the great emperor's altar, Wu Jiang's consciousness was also slightly stunned. Yin Chuan is using the power of birth charts. Wu Jiang's consciousness was surprised. Hong Jun's consciousness also said in surprise, the power of birth charts? Yin Chuan is good at tricks, but he has disrupted my plan. Well, I still have a backup plan. This time, I'll help you once. The most shocking thing was Fate. Fate listened to this voice in surprise. What was going on? Yin Chuan was actually using his net of fate to mobilize the power of birth charts? Bastard! Fate shouted. His consciousness instantly rushed into the chaos sea, wanting to stop Yin Chuan. However, Yin Chuan was no longer silent. Roar! With a ferocious expression, Yin Chuan's consciousness rushed out and collided with Fate's consciousness. The flame of hope was ignited again. He had succeeded once in the past, and this time, he was prepared and needed greater success. Boom! Yin Chuan's consciousness and Fate's consciousness collided. In the distance, the human Yin Chuan's eyes were a little empty, but his powerful will made the human Yin Chuan move closer to the zombie Yin Chuan. Rumble! The power of birth charts gathered, forming surging divine flames around the two of them. Yin Chuan's strength had reached a terrifying level due to the boundless power of Tsang's life force. The entire Great Emperor's altar seemed to be trembling. Yin Chuan's consciousness and half of Fate's consciousness seemed to be locked in a stalemate. At this moment in Xianying Pass, Fate, 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 go to Wuji and assist the main body, the silver-eyed Yin Chuan shouted. Roar, roar, roar. The golden dragon of Fate, the golden dragon of Fate, and the golden dragon of Fate quickly rushed into the sky and rushed towards Wuji. The silver-eyed Yin Chuan personally led Miao and the butterfly queen toward Wuji. In the blink of an eye, the great Qin city of the Netherworld and Xianying city of the Yang world rushed towards Wuji. Outer North Continent. My great 1,000 realms of fate, fate, and fate, follow me to Wuji, Zhong Shan shouted. Roar! 10,000 dragons rushed towards the 9 heavens. At the entrance of Taiji Palace, the world shook. Fate, fate, and fate seemed to have sensed something. The wills of the great Qi Supremes, great Tao Supremes, and great Four Supremes also slowly moved towards Wuji. The officials wanted to stop him, but no one was able to do so. The entire world was summoned by Yin Chuan's call of borrowing power. All the power in the world quickly gathered towards Wuji. It gathered towards the huge Great Emperor's altar. On the Great Emperor's altar, inside Wu Jiang's body, Hong Jun said, Wu Jiang, enter Yin Chuan's body and fight against fate. Wu Jiang, you know what I'm thinking. The great virtuous supremes should be willing to sacrifice themselves for the sake of the world. Go, I'll help you enter Yin Chuan's body. Hong Jun said calmly. Boom! Wu Jiang's consciousness rushed towards the zombie Yin Chuan. The two Yin Chuan were already surrounded by surging power. Gradually, 2 gigantic birth charts appeared. They were the life chart and the death chart. The 2 birth charts seemed to be slowly fusing together. The 2 Yin Chuans were also fusing together. Endless energy assisted the 2 Yin Chuans fusing. However, it was still not enough. Roar! The consciousness of fate roared. As the situation worsened, the consciousness of fate also quickly awakened. The original half was now increasing rapidly. The great emperor's altar under their feet was surging with surging power, preventing the 2 Yin Chuan from merging. The Yin Chuan was also struggling. Although it carried endless hope, fate was still number 1 in the world. As more and more consciousness of fate awakened, it became more and more strenuous. Boom! Suddenly, Wu Jiang's consciousness surged over and attacked the consciousness of fate. Great virtuous supremes? The consciousness of fate shouted in shock. In an instant, surging consciousnesses collided. On the great emperor's altar, the two Yin Chuan and Wu Jiong stood still. Although they looked calm, in the depths of their consciousness, there were countless battles going on. At this time, the silver-eyed Yin Chuan, Miao Miao, Butterfly Empress, and Zhongshan appeared once again. Carrying the world's fortune, and Tao, they rushed towards the great monarch altar. Zhongshan, Miao, Butterfly Queen, we need you to protect them, Intong Yin Chuan said. Don't worry, Zhongshan nodded. Along with surging luck, they rushed towards the great emperor altar. Roar, roar, roar. Thousands of dragons roared, and all kinds of energy from the first era surged towards the two Yin Chuan. Rumble. The great emperor's altar suddenly sensed that there were intruders and surged with surging power. Suppress. Zhongshan roared. Immediately, everyone was protected. The two Yin Chuans were getting closer and closer to each other. The power of life helped the two of them fuse together. Their life force and death force fused together once again. In the sea of consciousness, fate was gradually blocked. Bastard. Fate was furious. More consciousnesses were awakening. A power that was beyond his control caused the half-awakened fate to be at a loss. Beside him, Wu Jiong, who was occupied by Hong Jun, was watching quietly. Wake up. You only have this much consciousness. Just a little more. Fate, wake up. I'll wait for you. Hong Jun's voice came faintly. Hong Jun's eyes were filled with strong confidence. He was not afraid of fate and hoped that fate would wake up. It was as if everything was under his control. Chapter 1601. Roar. The two Yin Chuans roared. Under the infusion of the power of life, Yin Chuans will finally valiantly wrenched back his body. The two Yin Chuan drew close and opened their eyes almost at the same time. Boom! The huge tremor caused fate, which was constantly recovering, to be startled. Flesh worm. Fate suddenly roared. This person was actually able to break free from his restraints. How is this possible? Fate wanted to suppress Yin Chuan again, but Wu Jiong's consciousness was also in Yin Chuan's body and was dragging on fate. Yin Chuan took back the initiative and quickly continued to fuse the two bodies together. Surging power surged out. The common people continued to gather power, and Yin Chuan's power grew stronger and stronger. This was a power that could topple mountains and overturn seas and destroy the world. The powerful force helped Yin Chuan break through to the 19th layer of heaven. However, the 19th heaven was too difficult. Even if he borrowed the power of the masses, the two Yin Chuan could not merge. Surges of fortune gathered toward Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan was anxious, and fate was even more anxious. It controlled the life and death of all living beings in the world, but at this moment, it was actually being suppressed by a nobody that it didn't take seriously. This was such an absurd thing, but it was also a fact. More and more of fate's consciousnesses were awakening. However, he was incapable of suppressing Yin Chuan. Wu Jiong's consciousnesses were even stronger, and fate was growing more and more irritated. Am I trapped in this place? Preposterous! Fate shouted angrily. In his anger, Fate suddenly turned around and looked at Wu Jiong's consciousness. Great virtuous senior, how dare you? How dare you? Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Fate shouted. Help me? Haha, it's already too late. Haven't you noticed that Yin Chuan is getting stronger and stronger? You'll be trapped here forever. Wu Jiong said coldly. Sleepy? No, not trapped. That's because the great emperor's altar, apart from Yin Chuan, also has you. You have also been taken over by my great emperor's altar. In other words, if I can parasitize Yin Chuan, I can also parasitize you. Fate coldly said. Wu Jiong's consciousness suddenly froze. Originally, it would have been difficult to parasitize you, but now that your consciousness is connected to this place, it's much more convenient for me. I've recovered 3/4 of my consciousness, so I can wipe out your consciousness and follow the connection to your body. When that happens, everyone will die. Flesh worms. All flesh worms in the world. I wanted to wait a little longer to get rid of you, but now, none of you will live. Fate said savagely, destroy my consciousness and seize my body. Wu Jiong's consciousness suddenly froze. Ah, die for me. Fate shouted. Boom. A super heavy attack rushed straight into Wu Jiong's consciousness. Although Wu Jiong was strong, he was powerless against Fate's all-out attack. It was quickly suppressed and melted. Destroy my consciousness and seize my body. Seize my body? Haha. Teacher, you're really meticulous. Everything is under your control. Wu Jiong let out a final sigh. Boom. Wu Jiong's consciousness was instantly crushed by Fate. Buzz. His Fate consciousness trembled violently as it followed a line that connected to Wu Jiong's body. Yin Chuan took back his body, but he still left a part of his consciousness in his sea of consciousness to witness the grand virtuous venerate sacrifice. Fate's consciousness slowly disappeared, but because Yin Chuan was connected to Tsang's vitality, Yin Chuan's consciousness was connected to Fate's net. Fate's net disappeared from Yin Chuan's sea of consciousness and entered Wu Jiong's body. At this moment, Yin Chuan's consciousness was connected to Wu Jiong's consciousness. Therefore, there was a sliver of connection to Yin Chuan's consciousness. Wu Jiong's consciousness was wiped out by Fate. In that instant, the grand virtuous venerate's consciousness was destroyed, and Wu Jiong's body was gradually taken over by Fate. Yin Chuan knew that this was the most dangerous moment, because he would have to face Fate head-on. Quick, quick, quick! Yin Chuan was anxious. He hoped that the fusion would be faster, but he didn't have enough common life power. Fate, providence, fortune, I'm still short of merit. I'm still short of merit. Yin Chuan was anxious. Boom. Suddenly, countless merit overflowed from Wu Jiong's body and exploded. It was mixed with fate, fortune, and fortune. Not far away, Zhongshan's eyes narrowed. Wu Jiong is dead. With that, Zhongshan immediately rushed forward with Meow and Butterfly Queen. Okay, everything is complete. Butterfly Queen, Meow, I'll protect you. You two help Yin Chuan break through. Zhongshan shouted. Meow. Meow answered. Immediately, Meow and Butterfly Queen spat out 2 silver-white rays of light. Boom! The rays of light shot into the surrounding fate, fortune, providence, and merit. The 4 types of energy were quickly fusing into Yin Chuan's body and becoming providence. Rumble! In an instant, the 2 Yin Chuan shone with dazzling 19 colored rays of light. Quick, quick, quick! Yin Chuan said worriedly. The fusion would take some time, which was enough time for Fate's consciousness to fully awaken. Was this the final battle? Yin Chuan's eyes were filled with determination. On the other side, Fate's consciousness entered Wu Jiong's body. Rumble! Although Wu Jiong was overflowing with merit, his aura was rapidly growing. Yin Chuan? You must die. Common life? You must die too. My consciousness is about to fully awaken. My consciousness. Fate said coldly. Rumble. The entire world was shaking. Fate was fully awakened, and a vast force shook the world. Lotus God, Grave Immortal King, Sha Di, and the other experts were all shocked. The world was shaking? Between heaven and earth, the 3,000 heavenly Daos were also shaking, and the entire world was brewing a destructive aura. All the people in the world were praying. They prayed that Yin Chuan would be able to overcome Fate, because at this moment, everyone realized that if Yin Chuan were to be defeated, then the common people would be completely destroyed. Dongfang Palace. Dongfang Booby slowly walked out of the palace. He stood on the square and looked at the starry sky. His eyes pierced through the world and saw Wuji. Has Fate's consciousness completely awakened? Fate. Dongfang Booby frowned. The most powerful existence in the world had completely awakened? In Wuji, Fate took over Wu Jiong's body and shone with 19 colored rays of light. Among the 19 colored rays of light, there was a faint 20-colored ray of light. Fate was completely awakened, and a will to destroy everything came out of his body. On the other side, Yin Chuan had not finished fusing, and he was very anxious. Yin Chuan? Die! Fate roared. In Fate's consciousness, he threw a punch at Yin Chuan. However, a strange scene happened. Fate's fist did not come out, and his body was motionless. What? Fate's face changed. Why couldn't he control his body? The great emperor altar under his feet suddenly surged with power into his body, but he still could not move. Fate suddenly had a bad feeling. He carefully sensed his body, and suddenly he felt a will again. Who are you? Fate was surprised. I'm Hong Jun. A voice sounded. Fate gradually saw the appearance of an old man. At this moment, the old man was sitting on Fate's net. Sitting on Fate's net, a green aura spread out in all directions. Unlike Yin Chuan's consciousness that was attached to Fate's net, the green aura under Hong Jun's seat seemed to be freezing Fate's net. Hong Jun? That Hong Jun who died long ago? You're alive again? Fate was surprised. In order to lure you into a trap, I set up a trap for 2 eras. Hong Jun's voice sounded again. Trap? You mean this body? Fate was surprised. Hong Jun nodded. Haha, you want to trap me with this body? Fate was shocked and angry. You can try, Hong Jun said softly. Boom, boom. Fate quickly controlled his body, but at this moment, his body was motionless and could not be mobilized at all. Fate's consciousness covers the world. Previously, when you were in Yin Chuan's body, you could have escaped unscathed even if the virtuous venerate did not reside in it. Unfortunately, now that all your consciousness has entered this body, there is no escape. Hong Jun said indifferently. You think you can destroy me with just a flesh worm? Fate said coldly. I don't want to destroy you. Indeed, I can't destroy you now, but I can control you. I can use this body to control you. From now on, you will become my puppet. You will benefit the world with me, said Hong Jun indifferently. You control me? Fate was about to explode in anger. No one had ever dared to do this to him. Even the peerless experts of the first epoch were at his mercy. However, the person in front of him wanted to refine him into a puppet. He was too arrogant. Boom! Fate was struggling like a raging river. However, this body seemed to be specially made for Fate. At this moment, Hong Jun completely restrained him. Power of the heavenly Tao, follow my command. Fate shouted. He wanted to mobilize 3,000 heavenly energy to break through the seal. It's useless. Although you can mobilize the power of 3,000 heavenly laws, you don't understand that time here is different from the outside world. One day outside is 10,000 years inside. You can enjoy the taste of being a puppet. Hong Jun said coldly. As he spoke, the Fate net beneath him was completely covered by the green energy. At this moment, Fate was trapped in a small space by Hong Jun. He could not resist at all. No matter how hard he tried, he could not break out. That's impossible. Why? Hong Jun, how can you trap me? Fate roared in shock. Although you have the 20th colored light, you have not reached the 20th heaven. You are at the peak of the 19th heaven, and I am also at the 19th heaven. If we were outside, I would not be able to trap you or even defeat you. However, in this jar, you are already powerless to reverse the situation. Hong Jun said indifferently. At this moment, Yin Chuan's wisp of consciousness quietly retreated. Or rather, Hong Jun deliberately let it go. Yin Chuan's wisp of consciousness, which retreated, was shocked. Fate, the enemy of the world, had become a beast in Hong Jun's cage. Hong Jun of the 19th heaven, did he control Fate just like that? Control? Yin Chuan was completely stunned as he merged with the countless energies. Chapter 1602. The whole world was waiting for the news of Yin Chuan's battle against Fate. The empresses also stayed in Xianyang to wait for the news. It was not that they did not want to watch Yin Chuan fight, but they were worried that they would distract Yin Chuan. The girls waited patiently. The Empress Lu looked anxious. How is it? Lu looked at Zhao Feng and the others. The girls shook their heads, not knowing the result. The world was shaken, and everyone was anxious. Lu bit her lip. Suddenly, a voice entered her ears. Lua. It was a gentle female voice. Who is it? Lu was slightly stunned. The empresses also looked at Lu strangely. My son Lu. The voice sounded again. Hearing the voice, Lu suddenly felt a sense of benevolence. And Mother, Luer said in surprise. Mother? The great Phoenix Supreme? Mother who had transformed into the 72 paths of reincarnation? The empresses also looked at Lur in surprise. Lur, although you don't have the talent of an empress, you are still my flesh and blood. You have my purest bloodline. I have transformed into reincarnation, and I know everything in the world. The great Phoenix Supreme's voice sounded. Mother, are you going to be reborn? Lur asked in surprise. No, it's still early. If I am reborn, all my efforts will be in vain. Lur, I have sensed Wuji's matter, but I can't interfere. You should go and help Yin Chuan. The great Phoenix Supreme's voice sounded. Me? I want to go, but Mother, I'm only at the 13th heaven. I can't help. Lu said with an aggrieved expression. The 13th heaven is enough. Once you collect the Supreme Phoenixes, you can mobilize all my power. Hongjuan's plan is huge. If it was in the third epoch, he would definitely win. Unfortunately, there is a flaw. No one can stop it. I can only rely on you. Lu, Yin Chuan is about to face death. Are you willing to help him? The great Phoenix Supreme's voice sounded. I'm willing. Mother, what should I do? Lu asked immediately. Gather the honorable phoenixes and refine them into your eggshell. Mobilize my power. There are 5 with Mo Yushi and 1 with the honorable mighty phoenix. I will guide you to your location. The great Phoenix Supreme's voice sounded. Yes, yes. Lu said immediately. Lu immediately turned to look at Mo Yushi, who was still in doubt. Just now, my mother sent me a voice transmission. Sister Yushi, my husband is in danger. Please help me. Lu said anxiously. Danger? Mo Yushi immediately became anxious. Ow! Mo Yushi asked anxiously. I want the Supreme Dark Phoenix, the Supreme Thunder Phoenix, the Supreme Fire Phoenix, the Supreme Ice Phoenix, and the Supreme Blue One. I want it fast. Lu said. It can save Yin Chuan? Mo Yushi asked in surprise. Mother said it's okay, but these 5 were given to you by my husband. Lu stuttered. Mo Yushi did not hesitate and quickly opened her chest. Buzz! Within Mo Yushi's body, 5 rays of light instantly blossomed with a dazzling radiance. Buzz! 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 5 balls of light slowly emerged from Mo Yushi's body. When they emerged, Mo Yushi's entire body became extremely weak. However, she did not complain at all. Whoosh! Lu quickly took out 2 eggshells and combined them into a huge egg. It was the huge egg that Lu had hatched. The 5 light balls quickly poured into the eggshells. Buzz! Mo Yushi felt weak, as if she was about to fall. Zhao Afeng quickly stepped forward and supported Mo Yushi. Boom! In the starry sky, the Sha Di suddenly returned. When he returned, the Sha Di's expression changed drastically because he heard a voice. Apart from fate, the most powerful person in the first era? The Sha Di flew down and was still extremely shocked. In the past, the great Qi Master, who created the Sha Di, had to bow to the great Phoenix Supreme. The great Phoenix Supreme transformed into 72 paths of reincarnation, allowing all living beings to be resurrected and accumulating the foundation of the world. She could be said to be a great benefactor of all living beings. Why did she suddenly summon him at this moment? The Sha Di quickly arrived at Xianying. Empress Lu, the great Phoenix Supreme, sent me a voice transmission and asked me to come, the Sha Di said solemnly. Lu took in 5 great phoenixes. She looked at the Sha Di and said, My mother said that she will guide us to find the last great Phoenix Supreme. Thank you. It's my pleasure, the Sha Di said solemnly. Suddenly, a direction appeared in their hearts. Empress, let's go, the Sha Di said. He flicked his sleeve and took Lu to the west. The Sha Di worked very hard and moved extremely fast. Soon, they arrived at the Middle Sky Continent. In the Middle Sky Continent, the Mu clan felt the shaking of the world and was also shocked at this moment. At the request of the Mu clan also lent their strength to Yin Chuan. Even though there was hatred, the Mu clan also knew what the general trend was when facing fate. They were united against the outside world. Patriarch, haha, we are weak. Let's rest for a while before leaving. The Mu Clan skeleton said with a wry smile. Boom! Before the Mu Clan Immortal King could speak, a gust of wind suddenly appeared. The Shadi arrived with Empress Lure. The Shadi, the Mu Clan Immortal King's face darkened. His current strength was not comparable to the Shadi's. The Mu Clan immediately felt like they were facing a great enemy. However, the Shadi did not speak at this moment. Instead, Lure took a step forward. Lure saw that everyone was weak and immediately understood the reason. On behalf of my husband, Lure thanks everyone for your generosity. Lure bowed solemnly to everyone. Empress of Great Jun, what do you want? The Mu Clan Immortal King said in a deep voice. Lure took a deep breath and said, My mother said that the Great Phoenix Supreme is in the hands of the Mu Clan skeleton. My mother wants me to take it back. Your mother? Everyone's eyelids twitched. Others might not know much about Lure's identity, but the Mu Clan, who cultivated in the Samsara era, knew very well. The most powerful person in the First Era, the Great Phoenix Supreme. The Great Phoenix Supreme said that. The Mu Clan skeleton shuddered. He looked at the Mu Clan Immortal King and saw that the Mu Clan Immortal King did not speak. He said solemnly, Okay, I'll give it to you. The Mu Clan skeleton did not dare to force it to stay and gradually forced the Great Phoenix Supreme out. Whoosh! The two eggshells sucked the Supreme Breeze Supreme into their bodies. Crack! The two eggshells perfectly merged into one. Mother, what will we do now? Lure asked curiously. Swallow them, and they will naturally merge into your body. You can use all of my power for once. The Great Phoenix Supreme's voice sounded. Oh! Under Lure's urging, the eggshells gradually became smaller until Lure opened her mouth and swallowed the eggshells. Lure's body suddenly bloomed with a vast light. Boom! The light was boundless and radiated in all directions. 19 colors? The Mu Clan Immortal King said in shock. Boom! 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 In all directions, Samsara passages suddenly shot up into the sky, and the surrounding ground trembled. 72 Samsara passages suddenly floated around Lure. The power of the void soared into the 9 heavens. In Wuji, Yinchuan's consciousness retreated from Wu Jiong's body in shock. Hong Jun had actually trapped fate? Wasn't this too exaggerated? On the Great Emperor's altar, the two Yinchuan quickly merged. Under Miao's and the Butterfly Queen's supernatural powers, fate, merit, fortune, and fortune were merged into one and turned into providence. Surging providence surged into the two Yin Chuan's bodies. Rumble. The two Yin Chuan's bodies were almost merged. The human body and the zombie body gradually merged into one, but there was still a strong repulsive force in his body. However, under the magical power of providence, the repulsive force slowly disappeared. Zhongshan protected Yin Chuan and Miao. Silver-eyed, Yin Chuan saw the Shadi leave and also went toward the sky with a trace of curiosity. Rumble. Yin Chuan's fusion was becoming more and more successful. 18 colors of light burst out from his body, and vaguely, there was a 19th color light in the 18 colors. Miao, once Yin Chuan succeeds, it will be the 19th heaven, Miao said excitedly. Although Yin Chuan was shocked by Hongjuan's power, he was more concerned about himself at this moment. Boom! A huge force came from Yin Chuan's body. Yin Chuan broke free from the Great Emperor's altar. Yin Chuan finally broke free from the Great Emperor's altar. They continued to merge in the Wuji realm. On the other side, Wu Jiong's body. At this moment, Wu Jiong's consciousness was destroyed, and only Hong Jun was left to trap fate. No matter how fate struggled, he could not break free from the shackles. Hong Jun, you really surprised me. However, no one could trap me. Fate roared. As he roared, the sky suddenly burst into a dazzling light. 19 colors of light suddenly surged out from the sky and rushed toward the Great Emperor's altar. Buzz! The Great Emperor's altar surged with power again and rushed toward Wu Jiong's body. I am the soul of heaven and earth. When I am trapped, heaven and earth will naturally provide me with power to destroy this body. Fate said coldly. Hong Jun sat on the big net of fate. Your big net of fate has been frozen by me and can't contact heaven and earth. Only the 3,000 heavenly Daos can instinctively save you. Unfortunately, they can't save you, Hong Jun said indifferently. As he spoke, Hong Jun swung his horsetail whisk. Boom! 9 small balls suddenly flew out from heaven and earth and rushed toward Wu Jiong's body. One of them flew out from Yin Chuan's body. It was a small ball that led to the Purple Cloud Palace. Buzz! The 9 balls merged into one and then suddenly trapped Wu Jiong's body and the Great Emperor's altar. Buzz! After entering the ball, the help from heaven and earth was immediately cut off. What? You cut off heaven and earth's help to me? How'd you do it? Impossible. The 3,000 heavenly Daos instinctively save me. How can you stop them? Fate said anxiously. Everything in heaven and earth is predestined. There are 50 predestined numbers, 49 predestined numbers, and one of the variables escapes. Hong Jun said indifferently. Here? Is this a world of variables? Fate suddenly said in surprise. I've already said that you can't escape. Everyone thinks that I can't subdue you. Unfortunately, I've disappointed everyone. You've already been drowned in variables. You're already powerless to reverse the situation. Fate, pay the price for your thoughts, Hong Jun said lightly. As he spoke, waves of green light enveloped Fate's consciousness. What are you doing? Fate's consciousness asked in surprise. Sleep. Let me control all your power and benefit the world, Hong Jun said indifferently. With a flick of his horsetail whisk, countless green lights surged toward Fate's consciousness. Chapter 1603. What are you doing? The consciousness of Fate asked in surprise. Go to sleep. Let me grasp all of your strength and benefit the world, Hong Jun said calmly. With a flick of his horsetail whisk, countless rays of green light surged out. Fate was so angry that he laughed. Ha ha, Hong Jun, you really have a deep plan. Hong Jun did not say anything and flung the horsetail whisk in his hand. All of a sudden, the threads connecting the birth charts were severed and scattered in all directions. It was as though the birth charts were about to be destroyed. Once the connection was severed, he would no longer be able to control the masses. Buzz! Waves of green energy spread out in all directions, as if it was hypnotizing Fate. World of Variables, Purple Cloud Palace. This was the so-called solar system where Earth was located. It was boundless and incomparably dark, and the surging power of variables isolated it from the outside world. The first world could no longer be linked to Fate. Under Hong Jun's control, his Fate consciousness gradually became dizzy. But in the end, Fate was unwilling. Hong Jun, you will regret this, you hateful fleshworm. I will wake up soon, and soon it will be the time of your death. Fate shouted in a daze. Stubborn, Hong Jun said lightly. In the first world, heaven and earth shook. Even though Fate was the enemy of the world, it had another identity, which was the soul of the world. For their own sake, the common people would go against Fate, but Fate, as the soul of the world, had its own absolute consciousness. Heaven and earth surged. After the connection with Fate was severed, all of a sudden, the western outer continents of the 4 realms drew close to each other. Rumble! Instinctively, the western continent was quickly merging. The western outer continent was in chaos. The great evil world, the great kindness world, the great Kiliacosm, the first world, and the last continent had finally merged. Countless experts in the world panicked. Boom! In the middle heaven continent, mobilized the power of 72 samsara. Suddenly, a huge change occurred in the western outer continent. Beside him stood Sha Di and Tomb Immortal King. The 4 realms are merging into one. Are they going to merge into one completely? The Sha Di asked in surprise. Severing the 3 corpses, fusing the 3 corpses, and transcending Paragon holiness? Tomb Immortal King's face darkened. What do you mean? Lure asked in confusion. Destiny's grand plan is finally complete. Heaven and earth have transcended. Heaven and earth are on the verge of eternity, achieving immortality. Destiny will once again receive great benefits. The destruction of all living beings is imminent. Tomb Immortal King's expression changed. Ah, Lure said in surprise. Eastern Weave, Eastern Palace. Invincible East suddenly looked to the west. The four realms have finally merged into one perfectly. Immortality? Hong Jun, can you still be trapped? The general trend was already set. How could he continue to trap them? Time. If only you could give me a bit more time. That would be great. Invincible East let out a long sigh. As he spoke, Invincible East walked towards Limitless. Within Wuji, Meow and Butterfly Queen used their second divine power to fuse Providence, Merit, Luck, and Luck to form Providence. At this moment, it had completely fused into Yan Chuan's body. Butterfly Queen and Meow's faces turned pale. Zhongshan protected the two girls and handed them over to Tong Yan Chuan. Bring them back to heaven and earth. They are too weak right now and won't be able to withstand the slightest jolt. Zhongshan said. Silver-eyed Yin Chuan nodded and turned to look in the direction of the real body. In that case, I'll leave the real body to you. Don't worry. Zhongshan nodded. Tong Yin Chuan swung his sleeves and brought Meow and Butterfly Queen towards heaven and earth. Zhongshan looked at Yin Chuan's real body not far away. The human Yin Chuan and the zombie Yin Chuan had merged into one. At this moment, Providence filled his body and the power of life gathered. Yin Chuan's body emitted 18 colors of light. Within the light, the 19th color flashed as if it would bloom at any time. Yin Chuan had reached the most critical moment and could break through to the 19th heaven at any time. Zhongshan stood guard at the side. At the same time, he looked at a small golden ball not far away. Within the ball was the place where Zhongshan was born, Earth. To be precise, within the ball was the solar system, which was also the Purple Cloud Palace. Seeing the Purple Cloud Palace, Zhongshan understood that Hong Jun had made a move and trapped fate within. Hong Jun? What a scheming person! Zhongshan exclaimed. Boom! Suddenly, the world in the distance trembled. Zhongshan turned his head to look, only to see that the four western outer continents were rapidly merging. Four realms merging into one. Zhongshan's expression changed. Something big is going to happen. Zhongshan said with an ugly expression. When the four realms merged into one, heaven and earth would be perfect. At this moment, what would happen to fate? Whoosh! Dongfang Bubi stepped into Wuji. Master! Lotus Goddess immediately flew over and said respectfully. Dongfang Bubi ignored her and stared at the golden ball in the distance cautiously. Under his vision, Dongfang Bubi seemed to be able to see everything inside. Boom! The four continents had completely merged into one. In an instant, countless rays of light were born in all directions. Dew fell from the sky, countless auspicious clouds danced, and surging auspicious chi rushed in all directions. The essence chi of heaven and earth suddenly became several times richer. Countless people in the world were shocked. Boom! Above heaven and earth, endless light bloomed in an instant. The light had 20 colors and shone brightly. Heaven and earth are perfect, Lotus Goddess said in surprise. In the distance, Zhongshan's expression also sank. Heaven and earth were perfect? Where was the soul of heaven and earth? In the Purple Cloud Palace, Wu Jiong's body stood on Mars. Hong Jun had gradually fallen into a deep sleep. The Wheel of Fate had 19 colors, and the 20th color flickered. All of a sudden, the 20th color shone brightly. Boom! The rolling light suddenly shone in all directions. In an instant, Wu Jiong's body bloomed with 20 colors. Heaven and earth are perfect. Hong Jun's expression sank. Ka. Fate's sleeping body bloomed with 20 colors. Gradually, a series of cracking sounds were heard. Fate slowly woke up. Whoosh! A series of long cries sounded. Fate was filled with shock and anger as it woke up. Rumble! Wu Jiong's body suddenly couldn't withstand the impact of this consciousness. A large number of cracks appeared. Hongjuan's expression changed. Replenish. Hongjun waved his hand. Boom. Endless antimatter rushed over and quickly replenished Wu Jiong's body, preventing it from being destroyed. Ha ha! Hongjun, I'm awake. I'm awake. You've lost. Ha ha ha! Fate's laughter was heard. The 20th heaven. Hongjun revealed an ugly expression. If you did this in the third epoch, I would have really been tricked by you. Unfortunately, this is the fourth epoch. Heaven and earth have already severed the three corpses. The three corpses have merged again. This is the trend. There's no need for me to do anything anymore. Heaven and earth can already be perfect. I've succeeded. 20th heaven. Hongju, you've lost. As long as I enter heaven and earth, I will transcend and live forever. Fate laughed. Boom. Fate instantly attacked Wu Jiong's body and took control of it. Stepping on the great arch altar, he instantly left the purple cloud palace and appeared in Wuji. Ah! Fate shouted and released a dazzling 20-colored light. The light instantly illuminated the surroundings. In the distance, the 20-colored light also bloomed. Then it resonated with Fate and shook violently. Rumble! The entire world was shaking. The apocalypse had finally arrived. Ha 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 ha! Fate laughed loudly. Looking at the purple cloud palace not far away, he sneered and said, Variable? Variable world? Variable and fixed number combined to form the number of Dian. Unfortunately, my fixed number is about to be perfect. I don't need variables, and am about to complete the number of Dian. Variable world, huh? What's the point of keeping it? Fate stretched out his hand and was about to grab it. Whoosh! In the distance, Dongfang Booby suddenly made his move. He quickly grabbed the variable world, and the small ball escaped Fate's demonic claws. Fate's eyes sank as he looked at the distant Dongfang Booby. Dongfang Booby stepped on Wuji. At this moment, he no longer held back. Instantly, his body emitted 19-colored light as he faced Fate. Dongfang Booby, the strongest person in the second epoch, is also at the 19th heaven. Nearby, Zhongshan's face sank. Who would have thought that a 19th heaven would appear in the second epoch? Whoosh! An azure-robed old man suddenly appeared in front of the purple cloud palace that Dongfang Booby had captured. It was Hongjun. Hongjun took over the purple cloud palace and released 19-colored light. The third epoch's Hongjun is also at the 19th heaven. The lotus deity exclaimed with her mouth agape. 2 19-colored heavens? Oh, there's another one breaking through to the 19th heaven over there? I really underestimated you bunch of worms, Fate said with a hint of surprise. Not far away, Yin Chuan was still breaking through to the 19th heaven, but the 2 19-colored heavens in front of him had already shocked Fate. What a pity, what a pity. Hongjun let out a long sigh. Dongfang Booby also had a worried look in his eyes. Fate was at the 20th heaven. At this moment, who could stop him? Ha ha! It's useless even if it's a pity. I said that when the 4 realms become one, all living beings will die. Didn't you want to protect them? You bunch of worms, it's time for you to die. Fate laughed. Fate, you're the first living being born in the world. Hongjun said with a frown. No, I was born with the world. I'm the soul of the world. I'm different from you bunch of worms. You are all parasites on my body. Disgusting. All of you must die. Fate said coldly. No, Fate. It's the kindness of the world that the world gave birth to all living beings. It's not what you wanted. However, the living beings also made the world stronger, just like you. Without the living beings, you wouldn't be as invincible as you are now. Please, Fate, give up the idea of destroying all living beings. The living beings are willing to worship you as their master. Hongjun pleaded again. Now you know to beg me? Why didn't you say so when you wanted to refine me? Unfortunately, that's impossible. Since the first living being was born in the world, I've hated you bunch of disgusting worms. How can I allow you to live on my body? All of you must die. Fate said coldly. Hongjun sighed slightly. He knew that it was impossible to change the concept of fate. Dongfang Booby, I need your help. Hongjun looked at Dongfang Booby. How? Dongfang Booby asked directly. Stop fate from entering the world. It's the soul of the world. Although it's at the 20th heaven, it's still a soul body. Only when it enters the world can it merge with the world and achieve transcendence. If it enters the world, it'll be completely unsolvable. All living beings will be destroyed in an instant. I'm going to stop his actions now. I'm going to mobilize all the variables in the variable world to enter my fate and seal fate for a period of time. Remember, only a period of time. After a period of time, he will break the seal formed by my fate. At that time, no one will be able to stop him, and all living beings will be destroyed. Hongjun sighed. I'll help you with all my strength, Dongfang Booby said in a deep voice. Chapter 1604. I'll do my best to help you, Dongfang Booby said. Hongjun nodded and looked coldly at Fate. Fate was residing in Wu Jiong's body. His eyes were cold and filled with disdain. Hongjun was strong and cunning. But so what? Once he reached the 20th level, he would be able to force Hongjun out. At that moment, Fate was the most powerful existence. Ignorant, Fate snorted coldly. Power of panic, limitless Hongjun. Hongjun shouted. He activated the small ball in his palm. Suddenly, the small ball broke open and turned into a starry sky. In the starry sky, there were 10 giant stars. The one in the center was the sun, and the other 9 were planets. That was the world of variables. It was also the solar system in Zhongshan's eyes. The solar system was located in Wuji, and the rolling antimatter was resisting the melting of Wuji. 50 Dian, 49 fate, and one of the variables? If heaven and earth can be safely in Wuji, so can this world of variables. Fate said coldly. Hongjun twisted his body and turned into a 19-color giant beast, a huge cricket. The cricket was ferocious, but it was transparent. Half of it was in the world of variables, and the other half was in Wuji. Roar! The cricket let out a loud roar and took the lead to collide with Fate. Disgusting flesh worm. Fate's palm came crashing down. Boom! The giant palm hit the cricket's body. Bam! A large area of the cricket's body collapsed, but the entire variable world was filled with rolling antimatter that flowed into the cricket's body, and the cricket quickly recovered. Most importantly, the cricket was broken into 9 sections. At that moment, each section was perfectly formed. They turned into 9 crickets and charged at Fate. Boom! The strength of 9 crickets surged toward Fate. He used all the power of the world of variables to block Fate's attack. Not bad, but you're still far from it. Fate sneered. As he spoke, his arms slowed down as if he was gathering more strength to crush the 9 crickets. Boom! Suddenly, Dongfang Booby appeared in front of him. He attacked Fate with his palm. Fate's eyes turned cold. Suddenly, he attacked with his other hand. Boom! Puff! Dongfang Booby was hit and spat out a mouthful of blood. However, Invincible East did not back down at all. A bunch of meatworms. You think you can do that? Fate sneered, clearly disdaining the two of them. Yeah. Suddenly, a loud noise came from Zhong Mountain. It was the first divine beast that Zhong Mountain had refined, the Baji Tian Wei. Boom! The 8 extremities heavenly tail also instantly collided with Fate, resisting it. Zhongshan watched solemnly from afar. The 8 extremities heavenly tail also shone with 19 colors. It was Zhongshan's trump card. Although it did not have a physical body, it was still extremely ferocious. An ordinary level 18 was no match for it. He was weaker than Dongfang Booby, but there was a limit to it. Fleshworm, you think you can stop me just because you have a lot of meatworms? You're not enough. Fate sneered. Boom! A huge force surged around his body. Instantly, Dongfang Booby was shaken to the point that he spat out another mouthful of blood. As for the 8 extremities heavenly tail, its entire body trembled violently. Clearly, it had also suffered heavy injuries. As for the 9 crickets, they were suddenly deformed from the vibrations, and countless cracks appeared on them. Ha 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 ha! I didn't even use half of my strength, And you're already like this? Fate laughed disdainfully. Resist? Ha ha ha. I like it when you resist. This way, I'll be more satisfied when I kill you. Hong Jun must die. Dongfang Bubi must die. Zhongshan must die. And that Yin Chuan who's trying to break through the 19 heavens must die too. All of you must die. Fate laughed. As he spoke, Fate shook violently again. A force that was twice as strong as before suddenly erupted. Boom! The huge shock made everyone widen their eyes. From afar, Zhongshan threw a punch. However, his strength was still not enough. But at that moment, 72 blue light pillars suddenly appeared around them. The light pillars gathered together as a woman appeared, turning into a phoenix claw that grabbed at Fate. The phoenix claw shone with 19 colors. It carried a force that was not weaker than Dongfang Bubi's and crashed into Fate. Boom! Fate shook again. The force was blocked, but Dongfang Bubi and Zhongshan were severely injured. The cracks on the 9 crickets also increased. The Empress of Dezhun, Zhongshan was surprised. 19 heavens. Dongfang Bubi was also surprised. There were actually 19 heavens in this world. The power of the great Phoenix Supreme? Ha ha! In the first era, the strongest person in the world except for Fate. It's really the gathering of the strongest in all the eras. Dongfang Bubi laughed. The person who came was Lu. She carried all the power that the great Phoenix Supreme had given her and attacked Fate. Rolling antimatter shrouded the surroundings. Fate was at the 20th heavens. He should have been able to sweep everything away. But how many times had he failed? Humph, you want to stop me too? Break for me again. Fate number shouted loudly. At that moment, Yin Chuan, who was not far away, suddenly released 19 colors and stabilized. Boom! Yin Chuan's body released 19 colors and dazzling light. 19 heavens! Dongfang Bubi looked into the distance and was overjoyed. Yin Chuan broke through the 19 heavens and rushed over without hesitation. Everyone's huge force once again attacked Fate. Boom! Endless power erupted in Wuji like a tsunami, surging in all directions. The powerful force even felt like it was filling up Wuji. Yin Chuan's eyes flashed coldly. He could feel everything before, but in order to break through the 19 heavens, he had endured until now. Dongfang Bubi's power, Zhongshan's power, and the 8 extremities heavenly tail's power. The great Phoenix Supreme's power, Yin Chuan's power, and Hong Jun's power to mobilize the world of variables. All of them were used on Fate. Boom! In the huge collision, it seemed like a moment, but also like a long time. Zhongshan, the 8 extremities heavenly tails, Dongfang Bubi, and Yin Chuan all had cracks on their bodies, as if their fate had been broken by Fate. As for Lu, an egg-shaped shield appeared around her. A large number of cracks appeared on the egg-shaped shield. Even if everyone tried their best, there was still no match for Fate. A look of despair appeared on everyone's faces. Who could be a match for someone with a destiny of the 20th level? At that moment, the 9 crickets that Hong Jun had transformed into cracked again and shattered into countless pieces, as if they had exploded in an instant. Ha 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 ha! Fate laughed in satisfaction. But in the midst of his laughter, he did not notice that the fragments of the crickets had exploded in a strip shape. They did not scatter, but wrapped around Fate in an instant. Fate came back to his senses and was stunned. But it was all too late, because the fragments of the crickets had strangely gathered into one again, turning into a huge cricket. But at that moment, it had swallowed Fate into its stomach. Everyone looked at this scene in surprise. Hong Jun, I've been tricked by you again, bastard. Fate roared. If Hong Jun had wanted to swallow Fate in the beginning, it would have been impossible. But Hong Jun pretended to be defeated and split into 9 parts, then surrounded Fate. Finally, when Fate was careless, he turned into fragments and reformed, wrapping Fate inside. The huge cricket's body suddenly twisted and charged straight towards the solar system's sun. Boom! Rolling antimatter went straight for the cricket. Fate struggled in the cricket's body, but the cricket's body seemed to be very elastic. No matter how hard it was needed, it could not be broken. Thank you for your help. I used the power of the variable world to trap fate, but I can't hold on for long. Maybe a year, maybe 10 years. You only have this last moment left. The cricket sighed. Boom. The cricket drilled into the solar system's sun. The rolling power of the variable world surged into the cricket's body, and it went into hibernation. Everyone was left in shock. Cracks appeared on everyone's bodies. Obviously, their fate had been shattered. To others, it was basically hopeless, but to everyone, they could recover with a little rest. The eggshell outside Lu'er's body shattered, and she immediately lost the power of the great Phoenix Supreme. Yin Chuan reacted quickly and grabbed Lu'er, protecting her in his arms. When Lu'er was in Yin Chuan's arms, she revealed a blissful smile. Zhongshan, Dongfang Bubi, and Yin Chuan looked at the cricket's body in the solar system with solemn expressions. Hong Jun did it. He trapped fate. Zhongshan said in a deep voice. 1 to 10 years? Hong Jun has done so much. It's enough. Dongfang Bubi said. On the other hand, Yin Chuan sighed. He had tried his best to reach the 19th heaven, but he realized that the enemy was already at the 20th heaven. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. Fate was too strong. It was already so invincible before entering and merging with heaven and earth. Once it returned to heaven and earth, who could be its match? The destruction of all life was imminent, and it only had 1 to 10 years left to live. Dongfang Bubi looked at the cricket in the sun, and determination flashed in his eyes. He turned his head and headed toward heaven and earth without wasting any time. Lotus God chased after Dongfang Bubi in the distance. In the blink of an eye, only Yin Chuan, Lu'er, and Zhongshan were left in Wuji. There's still a few years left. Yin Chuan, can you reach the 20th heaven? Zhongshan turned and asked. Yin Chuan smiled bitterly. How was that possible? Fate borrowed the power of heaven and earth to reach the 20th heaven. We may never be able to do it. Years of hard work, in the end, it's all for naught. Everything is going to be destroyed. Zhongshan sighed. No matter what, the fight against fate will never stop. Even if we fight to the last living being, Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. What should we do now? Zhongshan frowned. Tell the world that we will fight with all our strength in a few years. Hong Jun's actions have given us a chance to breathe. After a few years, no matter what the result is, we will face it calmly. Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Zhongshan nodded. I think there is no need to hide Wuji's matter from the world. Tell them everything. The world helped me, and I need to give them an explanation. Yin Chuan said solemnly. All right. Yin Chuan nodded. Boom. Dongfang Bubi and Lotus God returned to Dongfang Palace. Teacher, is it over for the world? Is it over just like that? Lotus God was at a loss. Dongfang Bubi shook his head. No, there's one last chance. Hong Jun trapped fate and gave me one last chance. I have a way to destroy fate. Lotus God was shocked. Dongfang Bubi's eyes flashed with madness. Although I can't reach the 20th heaven, I can take fate, death. Chapter 1605. Fate was trapped in the world of variables by Hong Jun. He would be able to escape in at least a year or at most 10 years. The calamity of the common people had arrived. Without hiding anything, Yin Chuan and Zhongshan announced it to the world. For a time, all living beings in the world were in fear. In the western outer continent, the great Zhou celestial realm collapsed. Wu Jiong's death caused the officials to grieve, but their grief was quickly replaced by great fear. The common people were destroyed. The fate of the 20th heavenly layer was an invincible existence. Who could resist it? Although the calamity had arrived. But Dezhan was still operating at full strength, and so was Zhongshan's kingdom. In the first month, the world was rioting and the crime rate was countless. Many people went crazy when they knew that the apocalypse had arrived. However, Yin Chuan and Zhongshan did not give up hope. They still let the officials operate the kingdom and deal the harshest blows to the criminals. The normal operation of the kingdom seemed to give the common people confidence. Gradually, Everyone calmed down because everyone still had their own kingdom to rely on and hope for. In the second month, the crime rate in the world decreased to the lowest. Everyone was filled with hope, hoping that the strongest of them would be able to defeat fate. Because the strongest had not given up hope, everyone seemed to have faith. Faith strengthened the belief of the common people. In the western outer continent, the undying territory of Tomb Immortal King. At this moment, the 4 continents were united, but the 3 live stone still existed. Boom! The 3 live stone exploded with a loud bang. Then, a woman in white slowly walked out. She had short hair and carried a long bronze saber on her back. Boom! As soon as the woman appeared, a vast aura soared into the sky, and the entire western outer continent shook violently. In Xianyang City, Yin Chuan looked over. Emperor, he's out of seclusion? Yin Chuan said in a deep voice. Zhongshan stood beside him. At this moment, the calamity of the common people had descended. Everyone had given up on their conflicts and was thinking of a solution. Emperor is at the 19th heaven, Zhongshan said solemnly. In the Eastern Territory, Tomb Immortal King and Lotus Goddess stood in front of the Eastern Palace. 19th heaven. Tomb Immortal King's eyes widened. It's her. Emperor. She broke through again. 2 heavens in a row. Lotus Goddess was also surprised. That's not right. There are 2 auras around the Emperor. Do you see them? The power of reincarnation and the power of the blade. Tomb Immortal King said, his eyes widening. Although the Tomb Immortal King's cultivation base had dropped, he still had a discerning eye. What do you mean? His Majesty's parents, the Great Phoenix Supreme and the Demon Saber Monarch Meng, transferred all their power to him. She had inherited all the power of the Great Phoenix Supreme. The Great Phoenix Supreme will never awaken again. The Tomb Immortal King's eyelids twitched. The Great Phoenix Supreme is not waking up? The Great Phoenix Supreme. Perhaps she understood that even if she awakened, she would not be able to save the world. Therefore, she gave up the chance to awaken and gave all her power to the Emperor. 72 reincarnations. The Great Phoenix Supreme? Hee. Tomb Immortal King smiled wryly. The Emperor is very powerful and can often fight above his level. Does the Great Phoenix Supreme want the Emperor to deal with fate? Can't you skip levels at the 19th heaven? Lotus Goddess asked hopefully. Skipping levels? Haha, that's impossible. The further you go, the greater the difference. How strong was Mingi back then? Could 10,018 heavens beat the fate of 119 heavens? Impossible, not to mention the 20th heavens. Tomb Immortal King smiled wryly. Then what should we do? Lotus Goddess frowned. I don't know. Tomb Immortal King said bitterly. Master is still in seclusion. Master said that there is a way to kill fate. Lotus Goddess looked at the hall behind her. Tomb Immortal King looked over and took a deep breath. In the second era, no one could see through Dongfang Bubi. I didn't know either. I didn't expect him to have reached the 19th heaven. I hope he can succeed. Lotus Goddess nodded. The western outer continent gradually calmed down. The Emperor looked at Xianyang and did not go forward. Instead, he stepped into the netherworld. Xianyang passed. Zhongshan looked and finally took a deep breath. The Great Phoenix Supreme is righteous. The couple actually gave up the chance to awaken. Zhongshan, I still need you to witness this matter. Perhaps this is the only way to deal with fate. Yin Chuan took a deep breath. Oh, you have a way to deal with fate? Zhongshan asked curiously. An extreme method. Come with me, Yin Chuan said. With that, the 2 of them walked into a hall. In the hall, Butterfly Queen and Meow sat cross-legged. Around the 2 women, there were 3,000 faint Heavenly Dao and Heavenly Dao replicas. This is the current Heavenly Dao. Zhongshan's expression changed. No, the current Heavenly Dao has merged into one. The 4 realms have merged into one. It can no longer be seen. Yin Chuan shook his head. This is the first world's 3,000 Heavenly Dao clones before the 4 realms merged into one. It was mastered by fate many years ago and passed to Meow and Butterfly Queen. They're trying to perfect it as soon as possible. Yin Chuan said, "Now that the heavenly Tao of the four realms has merged into one, what's the use of the first world's heavenly Tao? It's useful. It's also on my plans this time. However, I'm not sure." Yin Chuan said, "Oh." While Yin Chuan and Zhongshan were talking, the 3,000 First World's heavenly Tao clones suddenly lit up. Buzz. The entire hall was filled with a grand aura. "Meow, Yin Chuan, it's finally done. We're so tired," Meow exclaimed. Butterfly Queen also stood up and nodded. Back then, even the Nether River Patriarch didn't get all of the 3,000 First World's heavenly Tao clones. He only managed to create a new world with the help of a great Force Lord. Yin Chuan said, "A new world? You mean to rebuild the new world that the Nether River Patriarch created back then?" Zhongshan's expression changed. Yin Chuan nodded. Then, a droplet slowly appeared between his eyebrows. It looked like a new world within the droplet. "This is the world that the Nether River created back then. Wasn't it destroyed? It was destroyed. This is the heart of the world. As long as the heavenly Tao is filled, everything can be restored. This is the final gift that the Nether River gave back then." Yin Chuan said solemnly. "Oh, whoosh." The droplet suddenly expanded and instantly enveloped the entire hall, sucking in the 3,000 heavenly Tao clones. Rumble! The droplet trembled rapidly, and a surging aura of life was born. "Let's go." Yin Chuan waved his sleeves. The droplet enveloped everyone and instantly rushed out of the world and into Wuji. Rumble! The entire world of the droplet was rapidly expanding. Yin Chuan, Zhongshan, Meow, and Butterfly Queen stood on a flat ground and watched the birth of a new world. Rumble! Just like the Nether River Patriarch, it expanded rapidly and became bigger and bigger. Rumble! In the blink of an eye, it became the same size as the original world. "This is the new world." Zhongshan looked at the vast land. There were no living creatures. It was boundless. A new world can exist in Wuji. No one could compare to the Nether River's greatest achievement back then. Now, I have restored it. You and I will be in charge of checking if there is anything different about this world. Can it really allow people to live? Yin Chuan said solemnly. "Okay." Yin Chuan replied. Rumble! Yin Chuan and Zhongshan quickly flew in all directions to check this new world. They returned after a month. Everything seems perfect, but there seems to be something lacking. Although this world is alive, it feels a little rigid, as if it has lost its soul. Zhongshan said solemnly. At this moment, there was one more person gathered here. It was silver-eyed Yin Chuan. "I think so too. So, I have another idea. Since this world has been recreated, let's make it even more perfect." Yin Chuan said. "Oh." 3 droplets suddenly appeared in Yin Chuan's palm. There was a new world in each of them. The heart of the realm. I have replicated it. However, I will fill these 3 hearts of the Great Thousand World, Great Kindness World, and Great Evil World with the 3,000 heavenly axes of each. Yin Chuan said solemnly. 4 worlds into one. Infinite chaos? Zhongshan was surprised. Yes. Yin Chuan nodded. At this moment, the 3 hearts of the realm were handed over to silver-eyed Yin Chuan. Silver-eyed Yin Chuan waved his hand, and 9,000 heavenly axes were immediately poured into it. Rumble! Suddenly, the 3 worlds expanded. Whoosh! Everyone transferred it into Wuji. Rumble! Around the new world, another 3 new worlds expanded. At this moment, the huge movement also alarmed some of the experts in the original world. Tomb Immortal King and Lotus God looked at Infinite in shock. The new world of the river Styx? What is Yin Chuan trying to do? There was a sound of astonishment. At the same time, the other peerless experts in the world also quickly spread the news to other people in excitement. What? The Great Emperor is recreating a new world in Infinite. I knew that the Great Emperor would save us. I knew it. The people were jubilant. And in Infinite, Zhongshan, help me forcefully merge the 4 worlds. Yin Chuan shouted. Okay. Rumble! Zhongshan, 8 Extremities Heavenly Tail, silver-eyed Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan. Each of them controlled a world, and they quickly collided. Rumble. The huge collision brought with it a rolling force. A group of peerless experts attacked with all their strength, and the four worlds quickly merged. Rumble. The rolling force dissipated, and the four worlds were in chaos. It took a full 3 months for the new perfect world to be completed. Rumble. The four worlds merged into one, and countless rays of light shot into the sky. In an instant, the entire new world bloomed with dazzling 19 colors. 19 colors? Why is it 19 colors? Zhongshan frowned. One had to know that when the four worlds merged into one, it bloomed with 20 colors. Why was this perfect new world only 19 colors? 19 colors is enough. As long as the people can survive, isn't that enough? Yin Chuan said with a smile. Although the new world was not as good as the old world, it was enough to let the people survive. That's right. The feeling just now is gone. Now, I feel the vitality. You want to move the people to the new world? Zhongshan said in a deep voice. Yin Chuan nodded. But will fate agree to this? His rage wants to exterminate all living things. Zhongshan said in a solemn voice. Yin Chuan looked at the world of variables that trapped fate in the distance, and then at the old world. Taking a deep breath, Yin Chuan's eyes narrowed with a cold light. What if we destroy the old world? Destroy? Destroy the old world? Zhongshan's eyes widened. Chapter 1606. Destroy? Destroy the old world? Zhongshan's eyes widened. Yin Chuan looked at the world in the distance and nodded solemnly. The old world nurtured the people. The people owe the old world, but we have no choice. Zhongshan frowned. The old world has 20 levels of heaven. Fate is its soul. If the old world is destroyed, fate will never be able to merge with it. It will never be able to transcend and live forever. What awaits? It will be destruction by Wuji. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Although the 20 levels of heaven and earth are mystical, what's the use of it if the people are destroyed? My life is dedicated to the people. Everything is enough for the people to live. Yin Chuan said solemnly. What if fate is unforgiving? If fate loses the old world, it will naturally compromise with us. If it can't compromise and still wants to destroy the people, then we will fight with all our might. However, if it loses the old world, even if fate is at the 20 levels, it will gradually weaken. It is like a person's soul that has lost its body. Without the nourishment of an endless source of essence, it will eventually become weaker and weaker. At that time, even if we face fate, we might still have the strength to fight. Yin Chuan said solemnly. We will do our best and leave the rest to fate. Zhongshan said finally. Yin Chuan nodded. However, this is just our idea. I want to move a group of living beings here first and observe the effects. Yin Chuan said. Let's gather a group from each race. Zhongshan nodded. The two of them quickly entered the old world. Then, an order was given to move the people to the new world for a period of time. At this moment, Yin Chuan and Zhongshan had become the faith of the people. Each race sent a group of descendants to the new world. At the same time, they collected all kinds of plans to move into the new world. They moved very quickly. In a few days, they had all moved into the new world. In the new world, an area was set aside for them to live in. Everything was carried out in an orderly manner. Until 20 days later, there was bad news. In a hall, Great Emperor, we, the mosquitoes of the lowest level of the mosquito race, are all dead. A mosquito demon said bitterly. Oh. Yin Chuan's face darkened. He quickly went to investigate. When Yin Chuan arrived, Zhongshan was already investigating mosquitoes' living area. How is it? Yin Chuan asked. Not good. Zhongshan frowned. Normal mosquitoes can only live for 20 days, but these mosquitoes can't reproduce here. In other words, they can't give birth. Zhongshan said. Investigate all pregnant women. Yin Chuan ordered. A large number of assisting officials did a quick check. Reporting Great Emperor. In the past 20 days, 300 women of the human race have given birth. Unfortunately, all the babies have died. Reporting, Your Majesty, the tigers have also suffered the same fate for the past 20 days. All of the babies have been stillborn. Report, all the werewolves are stillborn. After a series of reports, Yin Chuan and Zhong Shan fell silent again. A world that can't reproduce? What's the use of that? Yin Chuan revealed an ugly expression. Unable to reproduce? Why? I think the main reason is that souls can't be born. The entire world can't give birth to new souls. Zhong Shan frowned. Life and death in the new world can't be a cycle, and yin and yang can't complement each other? Yin Chuan said. Indeed, this world still has a huge flaw. Zhong Shan nodded. Let the common people be reincarnated first. The dead souls can be reincarnated again. We can migrate the 72 reincarnations of the old world. Yin Chuan said. Reincarnation migration? I'll go to the emperor. It should be possible. Yin Chuan said. But the souls will eventually disperse. By then, the common people will become fewer and fewer. Zhong Shan said worriedly. The new world can't create superpowers. It can't reproduce endlessly like the old world. Not only will the old world give birth to new pure souls, it will also give birth to new races. Yin Chuan frowned. Let's migrate the reincarnations first. This is the only way now. We'll see after the reincarnations migrate. Zhong Shan said. All right. Yin Chuan nodded. The new world had flaws. Yin Chuan and Zhong Shan hoped to overcome all of them. There wasn't much time left. Fate could break free from Hongjuan Seal at any time. Yin Chuan soon arrived at the old world's netherworld. He found the emperor in the undying palace of the former North Continent. The emperor's disciples naturally returned. At this moment, seeing Yin Chuan arrive, everyone greeted respectfully, Greetings, Yin Di. Although they respected their teacher, they all knew that Yin Chuan was also working hard for his own life. Emperor, are you here? Yin Chuan asked. Yes, teacher is in the palace. A disciple said respectfully. You all can leave. I'll go see the emperor myself. Yes. Everyone answered. In the undying palace, the emperor didn't cultivate in seclusion. Instead, he looked at a mirror and showed a bitter expression. Father, mother, you are so cruel. It turns out that I was only born to be sacrificed for the common people. The emperor looked at himself in the mirror bitterly. Lure is my original body. You can't bear to part with her, so you used the lifeless soul to create me. I'm just a substitute for Lu. You bear all of your power for her and are prepared to sacrifice for the common people? Huh, the emperor said bitterly. I've always worked hard to be recognized by others. I've also worked hard to do my best. I admire your sacrifice for the common people. However, I also want a life that belongs to me. I don't need it to be too grand. I just need a plain life, a real life. But am I destined to sacrifice myself for your ideals? The 19th heaven? Haha, the world's respect. Haha, I don't need it. I really don't need it. A trace of tears streaked across the emperor's eyes. Biting his lips, the emperor looked at himself in the mirror and finally smiled bitterly. Although I'm unwilling, mother, father, you've placed your hopes on me. I'll do it. If I sacrifice myself, at least there's still Haha, at least there's still Lu to love him for me. Wiping his tears, the emperor took a deep breath and sat down, because the emperor had already sensed that someone was coming from outside the palace. He waved his sleeves and put away the mirror. Come in. The emperor's face turned cold. Creak. The door of the palace opened, and Yin Chuan stepped into the palace. Seeing the emperor again, Yin Chuan's heart was also in turmoil. He looked at the emperor and was silent for a while. Yin Chuan, what are you doing here? The emperor bit his lips and said, I need you to help me move the 72 paths of reincarnation to the new world that I've just completed. Yin Chuan said honestly, New world. The emperor's expression changed. As he said that, the emperor suddenly looked up. His gaze passed through the roof and shot toward Wuji. He instantly saw the new world of the Nether River Patriarch. The emperor was surprised. Yes, unfortunately, the creation is not enough. Living beings cannot reproduce after entering. Yin Chuan said honestly. The emperor looked at Yin Chuan and was silent for a while. Finally, he nodded. All right. Chapter 1607. Okay. The emperor agreed. That's great. Yin Chuan said with a smile. However, I need you to collect 6 underworld roads for me. The emperor took a deep breath and said, Underworld roads? Yin Chuan was puzzled. Yin Chuan had studied the 6 underworld roads in the world. The underworld roads were not powerful magic weapons, but they had a special property, which was the integration of yin and yang. When placed in one place, the yin and yang realms would no longer be separated. It could only travel between the 2 realms. Its other abilities were limited. Although it could be used for fighting, it was not very powerful. Yes, the emperor nodded solemnly. No problem. There are 6 underworld roads in the world, 1 each in the outer South Continent and the outer North Continent. I have a great force as 1. ZZ has 1. The Shadi has 1. The one that Chao used to have is also with Miao. Yin Chuan nodded. There were 6 underworld roads. Yin Chuan agreed without asking why. Okay. The emperor nodded. The emperor followed Yin Chuan out of the palace of the Undying slowly. Outside the palace, all the disciples were waiting. Yin Chuan, if I'm not here, please take care of them for me. The emperor took a deep breath and said, You're not here. Yin Chuan was confused. The emperor did not say anything. As he stepped forward, a huge vortex suddenly appeared under his feet. Swoosh! The disciples quickly retreated in surprise. 72 reincarnation roads, listen to my command. Rise! The emperor's face suddenly darkened. Boom! A gigantic reincarnation passage shot up into the sky, forming a towering pillar that stood between the heavens and the earth. Yin Chuan was waiting at the side. Boom! 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 A series of 72 reincarnation roads shot up into the sky and formed a huge vortex pillar. The blue vortex pillar spun rapidly. A large number of ghosts could be seen being reincarnated inside. Almost all the phoenix in the world seemed to have sensed it. Screech! Screech! Countless phoenix let out long cries as if they were worshipping something. Heaven and earth shook, and the 2 realms of yin and yang surged with blue energy. Countless experts looked at the surging energy in a daze. The surging blue energy seemed to connect to all life providences as it quickly pulled out from the life providence and gathered towards the north continent of the netherworld. Rumble! The 72 paths of reincarnation rumbled as boundless energy was drawn back. Let's go, the emperor said. As he spoke, Huang soared into the sky. Behind him, the 72 reincarnation cycles seemed to have transformed into 72 phoenix tails. Every time he swung it, countless experts would reveal looks of reverence. Yin Chuan took a step forward and soared into the sky. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them exited this world and entered Wuji. After that, they headed towards a new world. Rumble! The 2 of them and the 72 paths of reincarnation entered a new world. Soon, they arrived at a territory. 72 paths of reincarnation create a new world. The emperor said, Boom! The 72 paths of reincarnation drilled into the ground. Boundless blue energy instantly filled the entire new world and then disappeared. The power of reincarnation filled the world. Reincarnation? It's rooted. From now on, only this place has reincarnation. The emperor said solemnly. Yin Chuan nodded in satisfaction. Not far away, Zhongshan also rushed over. Zhongshan, let's prepare to migrate the people. Yin Chuan said. All right, Zhongshan replied. Emperor, why don't you stay here first? I'll help you collect 6 paths to the underworld. We haven't seen each other for many years. Lu also wants to see you. Yin Chuan advised. The emperor looked at Yin Chuan with a complicated expression, and a bitter smile flashed across his eyes. The emperor nodded. The emperor stayed for the time being. Zhongshan and Yin Chuan, on the other hand, were quickly migrating the people. Great Emperor, good news. It's a success. In a new world, a new baby has been born. An official ran over happily. Oh, bring me there to have a look, Yin Chuan said. Yes. Soon, Yin Chuan came outside a house. At this moment, Zhongshan also arrived and checked on the new baby. Wah wah! The baby cried loudly. Zhongshan reached out and touched the baby's head. Buzz! The baby trembled slightly and then stopped crying. A trace of doubt flashed across his eyes. He looked around and finally saw Yin Chuan and Zhongshan. The baby immediately trembled and said, this old one greets the great emperor. This old one has reincarnated? Greetings, the great emperor. Greetings, the great emperor. The baby was obviously too excited. He called himself an old one, and everyone was stunned. He's reincarnated, Zhongshan said in a deep voice. Yin Chuan nodded. After handing the baby over to the family, Yin Chuan and Zhongshan left again. It's because of the 72 paths of reincarnation. Zhongshan sighed slightly. Yin Chuan's heart was also very heavy. Let's move the common people first. A year's time is almost up. Fate can break free at any time. We can't protect the old world anymore. No matter what the final result is, the new world is the foundation. Yin Chuan sighed. Zhongshan nodded. Unfortunately, the new world can't give birth to new souls. It can only give birth to new lives through reincarnation. However, when people die, their souls will disperse and the number of living beings will not increase. In the long run, there will be fewer and fewer living beings. In the end, it will be completely destroyed. Zhongshan sighed. This is already the best way. Let's work harder in the future. The natural exhaustion of life won't be in a short period of time. Perhaps it will take more than 10,000 years. No one knows what will happen during this period. Let's set up a new law that forbids all battles that destroy souls. The common people are forbidden from fighting. This might drag on for even longer. Unfortunately, the secret of giving birth to new souls is still in the old world. The river Styx has yet to unravel it. Zhongshan sighed. You and I will work hard. When we understand the reason for the birth of new lives in the old world, we will destroy the old world, Yin Chuan said solemnly. All right, Zhongshan nodded. Then, the two quickly moved the people. The people were also very cooperative. Until half a year later, except for the Eastern Territory, almost all living beings and plants in the world had moved to the new world. Grave Immortal King, Lotus God, and the others looked at the barren land in confusion. Quang! The door of the Eastern Palace opened. Teacher! The two shouted. It was Dongfang Booby who walked out slowly. Dongfang Booby came out of seclusion and looked around. What happened? Dongfang Booby asked solemnly. The Lotus Goddess quickly recounted everything that had happened. Oh, new world? Fine. Let Yin Chuan do whatever he wants. It's good that the people have moved away. It will be easier for me to carry out my plan. Dongfang Booby's eyes narrowed. Plan. Lotus God's eyes brightened. Dongfang Booby looked up at the sky and said, It's time. I want this world to be turned upside down. I want fate to be uninhabitable. When the world is turned upside down, fate will die. Teacher? Lotus God asked curiously. Dongfang Booby suddenly looked at the 3,000 stars in the starry sky. In the second era, Dongfang Booby had refined the 3,000 stars with the bodies of 3,000 heroes. Dongfang Booby's plan. Chapter 1608. In a great hall in the New World, Yin Chuan faced the emperor. In front of Yin Chuan, there were 6 yellow pillars in a row. Under Yin Chuan's control, they flowed like a yellow river. 6 roads to the underworld, Yin Chuan said. The emperor nodded and reached out his hand. Buzz! The 6 roads to the underworld instantly flew around the emperor, and he emitted a 19-colored light. Gradually, the 6 roads to the underworld merged with each other. Rumble! The roads to the underworld boiled, but under the emperor's suppression, they quickly merged. Oh! Gradually, the 6 roads to the underworld merged completely, and the yellow gradually turned transparent, like a clear river rushing to the sky. The emperor looked at the green river in front of him, and his eyes were uncertain. He focused his eyes and wanted to continue casting, but he frowned and suddenly stopped, as if he was struggling in his heart. "What's wrong?" Yinchuan asked curiously. "Nothing. Go ahead, I'll take a look again." The emperor smiled bitterly. "There must be something, Emperor. I don't know why the great Phoenix Supreme gave up the opportunity to be reborn and gave her power to you, but I think there must be some purpose. Please tell me, okay?" Yinchuan stepped forward and asked. "No." The emperor shook his head. The emperor refused again. Yinchuan shouldn't ask again, but when he thought of the emperor's sad expression just now, Yinchuan asked again, "Emperor, what's wrong?" "I said it's nothing. I won't hurt you, and it can even be very beneficial to you. Don't ask anymore," the emperor said irritably. However, the more he said that, the more Yinchuan asked, "Very beneficial to me? I don't understand. What does this have to do with me?" "Don't ask anymore," the emperor said bitterly. "No, I want to know." Yinchuan shook his head. The emperor looked at Yinchuan with a complicated expression. There was love, unwillingness, and sadness in his eyes. After a moment of silence, the emperor sighed. In the end, he smiled bitterly and said, "Actually, I'm just Leur's substitute." "A substitute?" "Yes. I will fulfill your wish, or I will fulfill Invincible East's substitute." The emperor nodded. "What do you mean?" "Lifeless soul? Without fate, the purest soul body can merge with anyone. My mother turned into 72 reincarnations to collect the endless reincarnation power. She reincarnated for thousands of years just to pass on all the power to me. Then, she used the characteristics of my fateless soul to merge all the power into another level 19 expert. She didn't want to reach the 20th level, but at the very least, she wanted to reach the peak of the 19th level and surpass fate. Oh, I'm already at the 20th celestial layer. I'm already invincible. However, my mother's last wish was to use all her strength to fight against fate. Therefore, I will fulfill your wish in the end. The road to the underworld is the key. Once the underworld enters my body, my consciousness will be erased, and I will become a true force for you to fuse with your body," said the emperor with a bitter smile. "Fuse with you?" Yinchuan's eyelids twitched. "Yes, I'm like a heavenly treasure. You can eat me." The emperor's eyes flashed with resentment. "Eat me? No, I can't do it," Yinchuan said firmly. "But isn't this the only way to fight against fate?" "Impossible." Yinchuan shook his head. At this time, the emperor was anxious. Why? Yinchuan looked at the emperor with an inexplicable emotion in his eyes. His attitude was stubborn. "Yinchuan, although it's a pity, compared to Dongfang Bubi, I'm more willing to fulfill your wish," said the emperor anxiously. Boom! Suddenly, a loud sound echoed in the main hall. It was Zhongshan who broke open the door of the main hall. "Zhongshan?" Yinchuan looked at Zhongshan, who was at the entrance of the main hall. "Something happened to the old world," shouted Zhongshan. "Oh!" Yinchuan and the emperor quickly stepped out of the main hall. They raised their heads and looked at the old world and the Wuji, only to see the old world trembling violently. Rumble! 20-colored light bloomed in the old world. And in the old world, 3,000 stars were incomparably dazzling. "Dongfang Bubi's actions," Zhongshan said with a frown. "Dongfang Bubi?" Yinchuan's expression changed. "We haven't had time to comprehend the mysteries of the old world. We haven't figured out how to give birth to new souls. If Dongfang Bubi destroys the old world now, we won't have any more chances." Zhongshan said anxiously. "If Dongfang Bubi destroys the old world, even without fate, the common people will slowly walk towards extinction." Zhongshan said anxiously. "No, we have to stop Dongfang Bubi." Yinchuan's expression changed. Boom! Yinchuan, Zhongshan, and the emperor immediately soared into the sky and rushed into the Wuji, then quickly shot towards the old world. There were 3 worlds in the Wuji: the old world, the new world, and the variable world. In the variable world, Fate was trapped in the sun by Hongjun. At this moment, Fate seemed to sense something and was struggling rapidly. Rumble! In the sun, Hongjun's body twisted, trying hard to bind Fate. However, fate seemed to know that something bad had happened. Hongjun, you meat worm. Let go of me. Fate roared. Hongjun didn't say a word. Do you think that by mobilizing the power of the entire variable world, you could trap me? At worst, I don't want this Wu Zhao's body. I can still break out of the seal. Fate roared. Boom, boom, boom. Fate collided again and again, trying to break the seal. At this moment, the variable world was shaking crazily. The power of fate was too strong. Even the entire variable world seemed to be unable to resist, as if the entire variable world was about to collapse. The old world. Boom! Yin Chuan, Zhongshan, and the emperor flew outside the eastern territory, outside the Dongfang Palace. Dongfang Bubi was dressed in white, incomparably holy, his long hair draped over his shoulders, and his arrogance radiated in all directions. Above his head, 3,000 stars slowly rotated. Above the 3,000 stars, there was a layer of a large net. Fushi's push heaven net, 3,000 stars? Zhongshan said in a deep voice. Suddenly, the emperor's star within it brightened. Boom! The North Star bloomed with a dazzling purple light. Suddenly, it formed a purple pillar that towered into the heavens. Boom! As soon as the emperor's star pillar appeared, another huge purple pillar appeared out of thin air. Heavenly Tao. Yin Chuan's eyes narrowed. Wasn't this one of the old world's heavenly Tao? Break! Dongfang Bubi shouted. The purple star pillar slammed into the heavenly Tao. Boom! The heavenly Tao trembled, causing the entire world to shake. Dongfang Bubi, what are you doing? Yin Chuan cried out in shock. Was Dongfang Bubi going to destroy this heavenly Tao? Dongfang Bubi looked at Yin Chuan and the others, smiled slightly, and said, Yin Chuan, Zhongshan, the emperor, you guys are here, forget it. Watch my heaven-changing ceremony. Heaven-changing? Zhongshan asked doubtfully. Yin Chuan's eyes widened. 3,000 stars? 3,000 heavenly Tao? Dongfang Bubi, you want to use these 3,000 stars to replace the 3,000 heavenly Tao? The emperor was also surprised. That's right, in the past, my disciple Lotus God destroyed the heavenly Tao, proving that the heavenly Tao can be broken. I want to break this 3,000 heavenly Tao, crush it into dust, and then use the 3,000 stars to form a new 3,000 heavenly Tao, dominate this world, and remake fate. Dongfang Bubi said. What? In this way, the fate of the past will be cut off from this world, and I will become the new fate of this world. Dongfang Bubi said confidently. Chapter 1609. In this way, the fate of the past will be severed from this world, and I will become the new fate of this world. Dongfang Bubi said confidently. Shatter the heavenly Tao and reforge a new heavenly Tao, turning your body into fate. Yin Chuan raised an eyebrow. You can say that. The 3,000 stars were carefully selected by me for today's situation. After obtaining Fushi's heavenly net, I have overcome all the difficulties. The original 3,000 heavenly Taos were shattered into countless scattered rules, and the 3,000 stars led all the rules to reforge the new heavenly Tao. Dongfang Bubi said solemnly. The Lotus deity said, Master, if you reforge the heavenly Tao, the world will be turned upside down. Everything will change, and the entire world will be destroyed. In that case, fate will lose its support. It will be like a soul losing its physical body and will soon wither away. It is possible, to whom Immortal King praised. Dongfang Bubi nodded. No, Yin Chuan suddenly shouted. Heaven and earth overturning, all the laws of this world will collapse. This world is very likely to be crippled. My new world still has a difficult problem to overcome. Wait a while more. Yin Chuan said. Difficult problem? Dongfang Bubi looked at Yin Chuan. The new world cannot give birth to a new soul. Yin Chuan said honestly. Give birth to a new soul? Don't even think about it. No matter how perfect the new world is, it is still a replica. How can a replica give birth to a new soul? That is a kind of creative birth, and the new world cannot be completed, because this world is the origin, and only this world can give birth to a new soul. Dongfang Bubi shook his head. There will be a way. Zhongshan, Emperor, and I will definitely find a way. So, you'll need to wait for a while. Yin Chuan shook his head. I don't want to waste time with you. Dongfang Bubi shook his head. Boom! The 3,000 stars suddenly shone brightly. The heavenly net was arranged, and the 3,000 stars slowly rotated. Stop! Yin Chuan shouted, and suddenly, a powerful aura soared into the sky. Whoosh! The surging sea of blood suddenly blotted out the sky and covered the earth, drowning the boundless area in all directions. Above the blood sea, the great path of the cypress tree shot straight into the 9 heavens. The cypress tree spun and quickly connected with the 3,000 stars, preventing them from continuing to move. Cypress? Oomph. Dongfang Bubi snorted coldly. His aura skyrocketed, and he quickly mobilized the stars. Surging resistance, he charged straight at the cypress tree. The 3,000 stars was created by Invincible East. Invincible East naturally had an even more exquisite grasp of it. However, the cypress tree could also be mobilized. Therefore, the 219 heavens were in a deadlock for a while. Yin Chuan, go back to where you came from. I don't want to be your enemy for now. Dongfang Bubi said coldly. Your plan prevents the common people from surviving. If it fails, the common people will be destroyed. Yin Chuan shouted. Destruction? This is the best way to deal with fate. After the heavens and earth are overturned, even if fate doesn't die, he won't be able to borrow power from the heavens and earth. He will be weakened, and I will become the fate of the heavens and earth. By borrowing the power of the heavens and earth, I can fight him. Dongfang Bubi said stubbornly. I already said no. Yin Chuan shouted. Oomph. Dongfang Bubi snorted coldly. In an instant, the 219 heavens sent out a palm strike. Boom! The huge palms collided, and 19-colored light shot out in all directions. The surging impact spread out in all directions. Zhongshan and Huang quickly waved their hands, protecting the surroundings. This time, the two of them did not interfere. Although Dongfang Bubi's plan had stopped Yin Chuan's plan, it was still feasible. More importantly, Yin Chuan's fate was about to break free. Time was running out. Boom! Yin Chuan and Dongfang Bubi's palms were in a deadlock. The two showed ferocious expressions as they stared at each other coldly, not giving in. In terms of strength, the two were almost equal. Good, good, good. Yin Chuan, 4th epic. Your growth is really fast. Heroes emerge in troubled times. The strongest person in the 4th epic? Dongfang Bubi said coldly. Yin Chuan snorted coldly and did not try to persuade him anymore. The two were extremely stubborn people. They each had their own goals. Hence, it was impossible for them to persuade each other. Hence, they might as well use strength to win. If they won, they would have more say. Rumble. The two kept exerting their strength, wanting to defeat each other. Although they had all sorts of means, those spells and means appeared fancy at this moment. Hence, the two only exchanged palms. Boom! Boom! Explosions occurred in the surroundings. However, they were all protected by Huang and Zhongshan. You can't stop me. Explode for me. Dongfang Bubi shouted. Wang. The Emperor's star brightened, and so did the 3,000 stars. Suddenly, surging power rushed towards the purple heavenly Tao. Boom! The super heavy attack swept through the entire world. The entire world shook. Then, the purple heavenly Tao shattered under the huge force, turning into thousands of lights that scattered in all directions. Wang. The Emperor star suddenly turned into a pillar that connected heaven and earth. Then, the purple light quickly spread all over the world. It absorbed countless laws and formed a new heavenly Tao. Yin Chuan's expression changed. One heavenly Tao was already replaced. Firmament Cypress. Yin Chuan shouted. Wang. Cypress mobilized the countless stars in the shallow star layer. Surging astral energy rushed towards the remaining 2,999 stars, preventing them from continuing to destroy the heavenly Tao. Dongfang Booby's expression changed. Cypress. Cypress. You actually took advantage of this loophole. Dongfang Booby said coldly. Because under Bai Shu's full strength, although the 3,000 stars could not be used by the opponent, it was not good for him to use it either. It was as if the operation was stuck. Yin Chuan used his palm to block Dongfang Booby. Dongfang Booby could not do anything. Yin Chuan, you can't stop me. Cypress? I can indeed mobilize the 3,000 stars, but I can destroy it. My previous name was 1.5. Do you know why 1.5? Dongfang Booby said coldly. As he spoke, Dongfang Booby's body trembled. Then a clone flew out of his body. The clone soared into the sky and rushed towards the cypress. Yin Chuan's expression changed. Yin Chuan felt that Dongfang Booby's strength was weaker, but he could still hold him back. The other clone rushed towards the cypress. Tai Chi is 1. I'm more than half. That half clone has half of my strength. Break! Dongfang Booby shouted. The strength in his hand increased again. Bastard! Yin Chuan's expression changed. He exerted more strength in his hand. Boom! With one palm, Yin Chuan suppressed Dongfang Booby. However, Dongfang Booby's clone reached the cypress. Boom! The palm hit the cypress. Although it only had half of Dongfang Booby's strength, it was still extremely fierce. It was not something the cypress could resist. Crack! The huge cypress suddenly broke apart. Then, it suddenly collapsed and soared into the sky. Its power was absorbed by the 3,000 stars, and it was annihilated. Yin Chuan suppressed Dongfang Booby, but he could not stop the 3,000 stars. Yin Chuan, the cypress is destroyed. You can't stop me. Dongfang Booby laughed. Not necessarily. Your body has been separated from your doppelganger, and your strength has also weakened. If I stop your doppelganger from merging with you, you won't be my opponent. World suppression. Yin Chuan shouted. The world suppression copper coffin suddenly fell from the sky and rushed towards Dongfang Booby's clone. Boom! The world suppression copper coffin was now very powerful. Yin Chuan gathered the strength of the people and refined it again. It was extremely powerful. In an instant, the two Dongfang Booby were suppressed by Yin Chuan. Dongfang Booby's face turned ugly. Yin Chuan, if you continue like this, you will only delay time. No one will benefit. You will only let fate destroy the people. Yin Chuan did not want to give in to the battle of ideals. However, fate was like a sword hanging above everyone's head. Yin Chuan was uncertain. Boom! Suddenly, there was a loud sound in the Wuji world of variables. Everyone looked over. Not good. Fate is about to break free. Hongjun can't stop it. Zhongshan's face changed. In the sun of the world of variables, Mo's body swelled and distorted. Ha ha ha. Hongjun, I don't want Wu Jiong's body anymore. You can't stop me. Roar. Fate's voice roared. One could vaguely see a 20-clawed golden dragon roaring in Mo's transparent body. A 20-clawed golden dragon? This is a true dragon. Fate's form, the body of a true dragon. The true dragon of heaven. The emperor's face darkened. In the distance, the true dragon appeared and attacked Mo's body again. And Mo might be strong, but how could he compete with the true dragon? Cracks gradually appeared on Mo's body. Cracks? Hongjun can't hold on anymore? Everyone's face changed. Yin Chuan, stop it. Fate is about to break free. It's useless for you to stop me. Your plan is too late. Let me do it. Dongfang Booby shouted. Yin Chuan was uncertain. Then, he quickly retreated. Boom! Dongfang Booby and his clone merged into one, and a rolling force suddenly erupted. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and smiled bitterly. Is it really difficult to achieve anything in the new world? Dongfang Booby, do your best. We will help you. Yin Chuan took a deep breath and said. At this moment, the final battle was about to begin. Dongfang Booby looked at Yin Chuan and did not blame him. After all, they were doing it for the common people. Dongfang Booby raised his head and looked at the 3,000 stars. Gather the power of the stars and break the heavenly Tao for me. Dongfang Booby shouted. Rumble! The 3,000 stars suddenly burst into a dazzling light and shot out huge light pillars. Boom! The heavenly Tao appeared. Then, under Dongfang Bubi's full power, the old heavenly Tao collapsed crazily. Boom! 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 The heavenly Tao exploded one by one. The whole world was in chaos. The scene was magnificent. Yin Chuan flung his sleeves and led the people of Dongfang Bubi away quickly. Everyone entered Wuji and looked at Dongfang Bubi in the distance. In a world of variables. Bastards, you are a bunch of worms. Fate sensed the destruction of the world and roared. Mo struggled with great force, and more cracks appeared on Mo's body. It seemed like it would break out at any time. Chapter 16:10. Boom, boom, boom. The true dragon of the heavens attacked the seal again and again. Cracks appeared on Cricket's body, and the entire sun was trembling. Then, the entire variable world was trembling. The entire variable world seemed to be collapsing. Hongjun, you can't trap me. I'll break the seal soon. After I break the seal, I'll destroy your variable world, and none of you will live. Destiny roared. Boom! Destiny attacked the seal. How could Destiny not be angry when he was at the 20th level heaven and was sealed by a 19th level heaven? The old world. Under Dongfang Bubi's urging, the 3,000 heavenly Tao collapsed quickly. In the past, the 15th level Lotus deity could destroy the heavenly Tao. Although the heavenly Tao was stronger now, Dongfang Bubi was at the 19th level heaven. It was like a wolf, although not as strong as a lion. The lion's corpse was still at his mercy. Boom! The moment the 3,000 heavenly Tao collapsed, the whole world was shaking as if it was about to explode. In Wuji, Yin Chuan, Zhongshan, and the emperor's eyelids twitched wildly. This was the world that nurtured the common people. At this moment, it had completely collapsed. The creatures of the Eastern Territory were released into the new world by Yin Chuan. At the same time, Yin Chuan did not hide anything from the common people. Sha Di showed the scene of the old world to the common people. All the living beings fell silent as they watched the world of the past completely collapse. They stared blankly at that place. After all, it was nurtured by the world. At this moment, the hearts of all the living beings were in pain. Our world is destroyed. There seems to be an inexplicable pain in my heart. Me too. Although unwilling, there was nothing they could do. There was an irreconcilable contradiction between the common people and destiny. At this moment, they could only watch their home being destroyed. The variable world, destiny, who was struggling, suddenly quieted down. What? Impossible, you bunch of worms. How dare you destroy the world? Roar! Fate roared furiously. After roaring, he attacked Cricket's body even more crazily. Ka-ka-ka! More and more cracks appeared on Cricket's body. He could not hold on any longer. The old world. Boom! The new 3,000 heavenly Tao suddenly appeared. The boundless laws of heaven and earth quickly surged towards the new 3,000 heavenly Taos. The world that was originally on the verge of collapse gradually stabilized at this moment. The new heavenly Tao did not consist of the 3,000 stars. Instead, it was a framework formed by the 3,000 stars that absorbed the countless rules from before. The heavenly Taos were formed from countless laws, and it was the same for the previous heavenly Taos. Now, the laws were reorganized, forming a new 3,000 heavenly Taos. The speed was extremely fast. Under Dongfang Bubi's control, the world that was originally in a state of chaos changed drastically in just 3 days. Heaven and earth became clear again, and the 3,000 stars disappeared, turning into 3,000 pillars that connected heaven and earth, connecting the two realms of yin and yang. Boom! The world was still filled with 20-colored light, but at this moment, the world had undergone a tremendous change. The original Yang 9 and Yin 6 had also disappeared. There was only one continent in the Yang realm and one continent in the Nether realm. A vast and boundless aura surged forth. Countless auspicious clouds and auspicious chi erupted, and multicolored light exploded and scattered in all directions. A vigorous life force was born. The 3,000 heavenly Daos slowly faded into the heavens and earth. A new world changed the heavens and earth. As for Dongfang Bubi, he soared into the skies. In the skies, a gigantic net fused into Dongfang Bubi's body. Rumble! Dongfang Bubi's physical body was changing rapidly. Gradually, Dongfang Bubi turned into a huge dragon, a 19-claw by long. His entire body was shrouded in multicolored light, and he looked extremely noble. Roar! 19-clawed by long roared, and the 3,000 heavenly Daos appeared in the heavens and earth again. It was as if Daos and dragons were roaring together. The heavens and earth trembled. A new destiny? Yin Chuan's eyes narrowed. Changed the heavens and earth. Zhongshan also said in a low voice, Dongfang Bubi has turned into a new heavenly true dragon. The emperor narrowed his eyes. Rumble! In the distance, Dongfang Bubi roared, an endless 20-colored light shot out from the heavens and earth. Yin Chuan and the others clenched their fists. Although Yin Chuan's idea was not realized, if Dongfang Bubi succeeded, everything would be worth it. Just as everyone was excited, the world of variables suddenly changed. Roar! Boom! Following the roar of a huge dragon, the cricket's body suddenly exploded. No, the entire world of variables suddenly cracked and was in ruins. The sun that the cricket resided in also had a large number of cracks. Roar! In the roar, Destiny rushed out of the world of variables and charged towards the old world. Destiny has broken free. Zhongshan's face changed. The 20-clawed golden dragon, the heavenly true dragon. The emperor also frowned. Destiny had not arrived, but an extremely ferocious aura was already in front of everyone. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, and the common people became extremely nervous. Roar! The 20-clawed golden dragon roared, and in just a short while, it rushed to the old world. Roar! The 20-clawed golden dragon roared furiously. The wrath of fate soared to the heavens. When he was trapped by Hongjun in the past, he was not too worried. After all, Hongjun could not trap him for long. As long as he broke free, it would be the end of the world. However, who would have thought that this group of common people was crazy? They actually dared to destroy the heavens and earth. Roar! The 19-clawed by long roared. Dongfang Bubi flew out of the world and watched as Destiny returned. Fleshworm! You bunch of fleshworms! How dare you destroy the world? Destiny roared. Dongfang Bubi stared at Destiny. You're not dead. The 20-clawed golden dragon raised an eyebrow. So, you destroyed the world to kill me? You think too lightly. In this world, no one can kill me. Although I'm the soul of the world and have lost the power of the world, I'm still at level 20. Fleshworms, wait for your death. Especially you. You want to imitate me and become Destiny? You? Dongfang Bubi stared at Destiny and took a deep breath. You should have been able to become the master of the common people. The common people will listen to your orders and fight for you. However, you want to destroy the common people. Left with no choice, the common people can only leave their homes and fight for you. Destiny stared at the world. Change the world? Change the world? You bunch of flesh worms, do you think you can fight me like this? As long as the world is still here, I have the ability to change it back. I'm enough in Wuji. I don't need you guys. Roar. Destiny roared. Roar. Dongfang Bubi roared. Although Dongfang Bubi was only at level 19, he was a new Destiny. He immediately mobilized the power of the world, and his dragon body expanded. Die! Destiny roared. With a roar, a dragon claw came crashing down. Roar! Dongfang Bubi's dragon head slammed down as he mobilized the power of the world behind him. Boom! A ferocious collision. The strike of fate was instantly blocked, causing the entire world to tremble. Dongfang Bubi succeeded? In the distance, Zhongshan and the others were shocked. Was it Dongfang Bubi who had blocked his fate? Roar! Destiny roared and pounced forward. Boom! Two giant dragons, one golden and one white, collided fiercely and slammed into the ground. Heavenly Dao! Dongfang Booby roared. Boom! The 3,000 heavenly Daos immediately surged with endless power for Dongfang Booby to fight with his full strength. Rumble! The battle was fierce. The world that had just recovered was once again in chaos. The yin and yang worlds were in a mess. The two peerless experts fought until they fell apart. Fortunately, the 3,000 heavenly Daos were unaffected. Rumble! The two dragons fought, neither of them giving way. They were so powerful that even Yin Chuan, the emperor, and Zhongshan couldn't interfere. The power of 20 levels of heaven. Yin Chuan said solemnly. Everyone was looking forward to Dongfang Booby's victory. Destiny was too powerful. However, at this moment, the common people seemed to have seen hope. This battle lasted for 10 days and 10 nights. Destiny and Dongfang Booby fought from the world of the living to the netherworld, and from the netherworld to the world of the living. If it was the original world, all the living beings would have died. Fortunately, Yin Chuan moved all the living beings into the new world. Everyone was looking forward to it and praying. They hoped that Dongfang Booby would win. The Lotus God and the Tomb Immortal King held their breaths. Yin Chuan and the others in Wuji also stared with wide eyes. Roar! Roar! The two dragons used their full strength to tear apart the world. Rip! The golden dragon suddenly tore a hole in Bai Long's body. However, it recovered instantly. The two dragons continued fighting. It's over. Dongfang Booby used all his strength, but he was still lacking. Although he used the power of 20 levels of heaven and earth, he was still lacking. The emperor said with a sullen expression. Rip! Dongfang Booby was injured again during the battle. However, he recovered instantly. The common people's eyes couldn't keep up with the battle. However, Yin Chuan, the emperor, and Zhongshan saw it clearly. Just a little, Zhongshan said with an unsightly expression. However, the emperor showed some bitterness. I originally thought that Dongfang Booby could succeed. However, he was still lacking. Even if the three of us used our full strength, we couldn't block 20 levels of heaven and earth. Yin Chuan, that's all we can do. Zhongshan looked over in confusion. Yin Chuan's face sank. No, but this is the only chance. Yin Chuan, go and help Dongfang Booby. If you absorb my power, you will be infinitely close to 20 levels of heaven. You can help Dongfang Booby change his fate. The emperor said with determination. No, Yin Chuan said in distress. What's going on? Zhongshan asked in confusion. The emperor didn't hide anything and told them about the great Phoenix Supreme's plan. They used the road to the underworld to merge the fateless soul into Yin Chuan's body, allowing Yin Chuan to reach a higher level. Say no more. I won't merge you. Yin Chuan shook his head. Wait, Zhongshan suddenly shouted. The two looked over. If it's just merging the power of the fateless soul, perhaps the emperor doesn't have to die. Zhongshan said in a low voice. Oh, the two were surprised. Have you forgotten? In the past, when I transcended, I mastered the world's number 1 supernatural power, fate change. I can change Song's life chart at will. Even fate won't be able to detect it. Zhongshan's eyes flashed. But I'm a fateless soul. I don't have a fate, the emperor said in a low voice. No, you're underestimating the world's number 1 supernatural power. Fateless soul? You don't have a fate, but what carries everything you have? You just have the purest Godhead, which carries all your power. It's just that you don't have the mark of fate. The magic of fate change doesn't lie in fate, but in change. As long as you cooperate with me, I have a way. Zhongshan said confidently. Oh, fateless soul. Fortunately, you're not the only one in this world. With the same attribute change, I can transfer all your power to Yin Chuan and let the two Yin Chuan fuse. Zhongshan said. Can you? The emperor's eyes lit up. Zhongshan looked at Yin Chuan. Yin Chuan was also excited at this moment. He turned to look at the new world. Whoosh! The silver-eyed Yin Chuan shot out from the new world. Move quickly. Dongfang Booby can't hold on much longer, Yin Chuan said with excitement. Okay. Chapter 16:11. Silver-eyed, Yin Chuan flew over. Unlike Emperor, although Emperor was a soulless soul, he still had emotions, unlike silver-eyed Yin Chuan, who turned her emotions into comprehension. Emperor's emotions did not turn into comprehension, but silver-eyed Yin Chuan only had rationality left. The silver-eyed Yin Chuan did not reject the idea of merging with his main body. He was born as a vassal of his main body. All his rationality was to serve his main body. Now that his main body could become stronger, the silver-eyed Yin Chuan naturally did not hesitate. Supernatural power, change fate. Zhongshan shouted. Buzz! 2 19-colored lights suddenly appeared from his palms, and the lights rushed toward Emperor and silver-eyed Yin Chuan. Rumble! The three of them trembled. Yin Chuan looked at the three of them, and a solemn look flashed in his eyes. He turned his head and looked at the old world. Invincible East fought against fate, and Invincible East suffered more and more injuries. Fleshworm, you want to replace me? Ridiculous. Fate shouted coldly. Boom. Invincible East was instantly sent flying again, and several cracks appeared on his body. Roar. Invincible East roared and mobilized the power of 3,000 heavenly paths to quickly heal his injuries and continue to attack. However, gradually, Invincible East was a little powerless. Under Zhongshan's supernatural power, Emperor's power was quickly transferred to silver-eyed Yin Chuan. Roar. A huge phoenix phantom appeared around Emperor. The phoenix phantom rushed towards silver-eyed Yin Chuan, and rolling power swept out, exuding a monstrous aura. Fate, who was in the middle of the battle, turned his head and looked. Oh no! Yin Chuan's face changed. Boom! The black dragon path suddenly appeared behind him. His body merged with the great path. Roar! Yin Chuan transformed into a huge black dragon and rushed forward. True Dragon Path. Yin Chuan's great path was also a true dragon, a huge 19-color black dragon. Roar! With a roar, he rushed into the battlefield. As expected, when Fate saw the black dragon flying over, its attention was diverted. The black dragon was smaller than by long and the golden dragon, but it was still a power of the 19th heaven. The black dragon collided with the golden dragon. You overestimate yourself. Fate sneered. The golden dragon claw slammed into the black dragon. Boom! The strength of 20 layered heavens was not something that Yin Chuan could withstand. He was instantly sent flying. However, Invincible East was able to catch his breath. With a twist of its body, it swung its tail over. Boom! The gold and white dragons collided, and the entire world shook. The black dragon didn't hesitate either. It pounced forward once more. One black and one white attacked the golden dragon together. Rumble! The battle continued. Although Yin Chuan was being suppressed, he was still able to control his fate. The pressure on Invincible East instantly lessened. Rumble! The whole world was in chaos, and the three dragons fought until the sky was dark and the earth was dark. On the other side, under Zhongshan's superpower, the Emperor's power was stripped away bit by bit. Instead, it was on silver-eyed Yin Chuan. Countless phantoms of phoenix appeared around silver-eyed Yin Chuan. Chirp! Chirp! Thousands of phoenixes chirped together, and power was emitted from his body. Crack! 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 Countless cracks appeared on the surface of silver-eyed Yin Chuan's body. Ah! Silver-eyed Yin Chuan screamed in pain. Zhongshan also had a hard time activating it. The 8 extremities heavenly tail flew out and quickly returned power to Zhongshan. The superpower consumed too much power. As a result, Zhongshan soon became skin and bones, and the 8 extremities heavenly tail suddenly dimmed. Zhongshan shouted one last time and poured all his power into the Emperor. Rumble! The last bit of the Emperor's power suddenly left. All of it poured into silver-eyed Yin Chuan's body. Phew! Zhongshan's body shook, and he looked bitter. Changing the fate of the 19th heaven is really terrifying. At this time, Shadi and Lotus God also flew over from the New World. They quickly protected the weak emperor. The emperor's power was stripped away, and he was very weak at the moment. If it were not for the protection, he might have been melted by Wuji. Shadi and Lotus God, even if they were in different camps before, were now united against the enemy. The eight extremities heavenly tail quickly entered Zhongshan's body to recover. Zhongshan looked at silver-eyed Yin Chuan. Crack, crack, crack. Countless cracks appeared on silver-eyed Yin Chuan's body, as if he was about to collapse. What a terrifying power! All the power of the great Phoenix Supreme? Even silver-eyed Yin Chuan almost couldn't bear it. Zhongshan exclaimed, "Fateless souls." Fortunately, silver-eyed Yin Chuan has swallowed other fateless souls. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to succeed today. My mother made 3 copies of fateless souls. I didn't expect them to be so useful now. The emperor exclaimed. Silver-eyed Yin Chuan opened his eyes. Chirp! A 72-tailed phoenix, Shadow, suddenly flew out from behind him. 19 colored lights surrounded him. What a terrifying power. I can't bear it anymore. Now, even if I fight, I don't dare to fight too fiercely. I'm afraid my body will collapse. Emperor, what should I do now? Silver-eyed Yin Chuan asked solemnly. This is the combination of 6 roads to the underworld. Swallow it into your body and combine with your body. You are Yin Chuan's avatar. The combination will be more perfect, the emperor said with excitement. He reached out his hand, and the roads to the underworld flew out. Roar! Silver-eyed Yin Chuan swallowed the roads to the underworld. Call back Yin Chuan and combine with him, the emperor said. Okay. Silver-eyed Yin Chuan replied. In a chaotic old world, the 3 dragons were entangled, but fate was too strong. Even if Dongfang Bubi and Zhongshan worked together, they were not fate's opponent. Puff! Yin Chuan spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. Dongfang Bubi was also immediately covered in wounds. You are dead. Ha ha, no one can save you. Fate roared. Can't I? Just a little more, just a little more. Dongfang Bubi said unwillingly. Even if he used the power of the world, he was still not fate's opponent. How could it be like this? Boom! Fate struck again, and Yin Chuan was sent flying again. Ha ha ha! Yin Chuan? 19 heavens? Do you know? This is the difference. You will never be able to defeat me. As for Dongfang Bubi, do you think you can defeat me by using the power of the world? Dream on. Ha ha! Fate laughed confidently. Dongfang Bubi revealed a bitter expression. Cough! Cough! Yin Chuan climbed out of a pile of rubble. Dongfang Bubi, can you hold on by yourself for a while? I have a way to advance further. Yin Chuan said. 20 heavens. Dongfang Bubi revealed a confused expression. No, but it should be stronger or close to 20 heavens. Yin Chuan said. Ha 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 ha. Good. I'll block it for you. Go. Dongfang Bubi said loudly. Roar. The black dragon roared and soared into the sky. As for fate, it seemed like it did not want to let Yin Chuan leave and charged again. Roar! Dongfang Bubi roared and charged at fate with all his might. Then, he crashed into the golden dragon. You are courting death. I'll kill you first, then Yin Chuan. Fate turned around and charged at Dongfang Bubi again. At this moment, Fate's ferocity grew stronger, and the battle became more intense. Roar! Dongfang Bubi cried out in pain. Yin Chuan quickly flew out of the chaotic old world. He turned his head and saw that the old world was in tatters, as if it would collapse at any moment. As long as fate does not die, all life will perish. Dongfang Bubi, wait for me for a moment. Yin Chuan gritted his teeth and flew out. In the distance, silver-eyed Yin Chuan's body trembled as if it would collapse at any moment. Seeing Yin Chuan coming back, silver-eyed Yin Chuan quickly flew over. Everything is ready. Swallow me and merge with me. Silver-eyed Yin Chuan shouted. Roar! The black dragon swallowed silver-eyed Yin Chuan in one gulp. Roar! A huge 72-tailed phoenix suddenly burst out of the black dragon's body. The phoenix wrapped around the black dragon, and power surged into the black dragon's body. Rumble! The two Yin Chuan quickly merged with each other. Under the power of the road to the underworld, they quickly complemented each other and became stronger. Yin Chuan's momentum became stronger and stronger. 19 colors radiated in all directions. Among the 19 colored lights, there seemed to be a 25-colored light flickering. "Look, what's that?" Shadi exclaimed. "The 20th color? It appears and disappears. Yin Chuan's strength has reached the level of Fate's former strength. He's going to break through to the 20th level of the heaven." Lotus God exclaimed. "Yin Chuan, silver-eyed Yin Chuan? Sure enough, the fusion of the two of you is the most perfect. Ha 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 ha. This is the most perfect." The Emperor also laughed. He had felt sorry for his parents before, but now he found that it was not at all because the fusion of Yin Chuan was the most perfect and powerful. Rumble! The black dragon grew rapidly, and its horns became more prominent. The 19-clawed black dragon seemed to grow the 20th claw at any time. The ferocious power kept expanding. Yin Chuan merged quickly. It took 2 hours for his strength to reach the peak. Unfortunately, he was still a little short of reaching the 20th level of the heaven. After all, it was too difficult. Fate had gone through 4 eras to succeed. Yin Chuan could not achieve it so easily. However, even so, he was at the peak of the 19th level of the heaven. Invincible East and Yin Chuan might be able to resist fate. Boom! The black dragon broke free from the surrounding power and was about to rush to the old world. But at this moment, a sad cry came from the old world. Roar! Invincible East's sorrowful cry caused the old world to suddenly fall silent. The original battle seemed to have suddenly stopped. The chaos calmed down and slowly revealed the scene inside. It was Bai Long, who had been bitten in half by the golden dragon. Invincible East Foundation was injured by fate. Bai Long howled, but the golden dragon was excited and swallowed half of Bai Long's body. Roar! The golden dragon roared excitedly. Invincible East lost? Ha! Invincible East knew fate? See how you can fight me after I swallow you. The golden dragon roared proudly. No! And Wuji, Yin Chuan, Lotus Goddess, and the others shouted. Yin Chuan quickly rushed over, but Invincible East was completely defeated. In front of fate, he could not resist at all. Roar! Only half of the dragon's body was left. Even if the 3,000 heavenly Daos quickly poured energy into it to replenish it, it could not repair the broken body. No! Invincible East roared in grief. Roar! The golden dragon swallowed Bai Long in one bite. Only the white dragon head was left. Bai Long's eyes were filled with unwillingness. Chapter 16:12. The golden dragon swallowed Bai Long. As it did so, the surrounding heaven and earth trembled. Fate was naturally not just for venting its hatred. After losing its original sustenance, it would perish in Wuji sooner or later. However, there was still Dongfang Bubi. Dongfang Bubi had transformed into a new fate and controlled the current 3,000 heavenly Daos. If it could refine Dongfang Bubi, everything would return to normal. Roar! The golden dragon swallowed Bai Long excitedly. None of you will live. Ha ha! The golden dragon was in a good mood. At this moment, Yin Chuan charged over. Bai Long was left with only his head. He stared at Yin Chuan in despair. Your power? You actually... What a pity, what a pity. If you had done this earlier, we would have been able to block our fate. Just a little bit more, just a little bit more. White Dragon cried out in grief. Ha ha ha! Fate swallowed happily. Fate, you want to refine me? Become the fate of heaven and earth again? No, I won't let you succeed. Fate shatter. Scatter to the heavenly Daos. Dongfang Bubi shouted. Boom! All the light around Dongfang Bubi that was related to the heavenly Daos suddenly scattered. In an instant, he could no longer contact the 3,000 heavenly Daos. What? Bastard! The golden dragon's voice was filled with rage. It opened its mouth and bit off half of Bai Long's head. leaving behind Dongfang Bubi's sorrowful eyes. The black dragon that Yin Chuan had transformed into crashed into the golden dragon. Boom! The golden dragon was immediately sent flying. The powerful force stunned the golden dragon. Such power is already close to the 20th heaven. What a pity, what a pity. I destroyed your chance. If you still had the cypress tree, you could have mobilized the 3,000 heavenly Daos to form a new fate. The 3,000 heavenly Daos were formed from the original 3,000 stars. If only you still had the cypress tree. If only you still had the cypress tree. Dongfang Bubi was filled with regret. Although he did not speak, his will shook the void and spoke. A new fate. Yin Chuan's expression changed. Buzz. A seed suddenly emerged from the black dragon's chest. In the distant infinity, when the crowd saw that Dongfang Bubi was about to be completely devoured, they were all incomparably anxious. Master, Lotus God cried out sorrowfully. The black dragon collided with the golden dragon, but by long still couldn't escape. At this moment, a seed flew out of the black dragon's chest. What is that? The seed of a cypress tree? The emperor's expression changed. Cypress seeds? In the past, Bai Huang said that he had divined the future and left behind a relic for Yin Chuan. Could it be this seed? Zhongshan's expression changed. Bai Huang. Yes, Bai Huang performed divinations, peered into the future, and learned about the future. However, he didn't tell anyone. After peering into the future, he was discovered by fate and was killed. Bai Huang's inheritance is this seed? Zhongshan asked, puzzled. Cypress seeds? In the distance, in front of Yin Chuan, the seed flew out and emitted an emerald green light. Grandpa's inheritance, the seed of a cypress tree that he told me to always carry with me? Yin Chuan's expression changed. Suddenly, Yin Chuan seemed to have sensed something and understood something. Whoosh! The black dragon opened its mouth and spat out a mouthful of divine light. The divine light of the peak of the 19th heaven was naturally powerful. Boom! The seed sprouted quickly, and under the nourishment of the divine light, it rapidly grew at an extremely terrifying speed. It grew bigger and bigger, reaching straight into the sky. It was incomparably vast. Heavenly cypress tree? Lotus God exclaimed in the distance. Cypress tree? Wasn't it destroyed by Dongfang Bubi previously? It's alive again. This was left behind by Bai Huang. It turns out that he was waiting for this moment. Bai Huang really saw the future. Ha ha ha, Bai Huang. Zhongshan shouted excitedly. And Bai Long, who was about to be completely swallowed, suddenly saw the rebirth of the heavenly cypress tree. Bai Shu, ha! The common people are saved. Bai Huang, you are the first person in history. Ha ha! Bai Huang, the common people are saved. Yin Chuan, accept the power of the heavenly Tao and destroy fate. Dongfang Bubi saw hope and despair and immediately laughed. Boom! Bai Long was completely swallowed into the golden dragon's stomach. Noisy. The golden dragon twisted its head and said. The golden dragon was not clear about the ability of the cypress tree. After all, it was trapped in the world of variables previously and did not know about the battle between Dongfang Bubi and Yin Chuan. All right, Dongfang Bubi is dead. Now it's up to you. Yin Chuan, in such a short time, you have become so strong. Unfortunately, if Dongfang Bubi was here, you could still barely stop me. Remember, just barely. As for now, no one can save you. The golden dragon said coldly. Yin Chuan suddenly let out a roar. Roar! Amidst the roar, the blood sea suddenly appeared. The cypress tree spun wildly. As it spun, a divine power rushed towards the 3,000 heavenly Tao. Boom! The power of the heavenly Tao quickly poured into Yin Chuan's body. In an instant, Yin Chuan mobilized the 3,000 heavenly Tao. The entire power of heaven and earth was under Yin Chuan's control. The black dragon seemed to be connected to 3,000 chains and 3,000 heavenly Tao. The terrifying power made the black dragon expand rapidly. In the blink of an eye, the black dragon expanded to the same size as the golden dragon. In front of the black dragon, A sarcoma bulged out as if it would grow a 20th dragon claw at any time. His majestic aura caused the entire world to tremble. It was even more powerful than Dongfang Bubi's aura. Yin Chuan gathered almost all the power, the peak of the 19th level and the power of heaven and earth of the 20th level. With a slight overflow of power, the surroundings suddenly became like a sea of thunder and lightning, surging fiercely. The fierce aura rushed towards the golden dragon. The golden dragon's face suddenly darkened. It was just proud of defeating the strongest of the common people, Dongfang Bubi. In the blink of an eye, another strongest appeared. No, he was even stronger than Dongfang Bubi, much stronger. Looking back at the common people's experience of provoking it during this period of time. Mingyi, peak of the 18th level. Using the power of the new world, he could barely reach the 19th level. Fuxi, physical body in the heavens beyond battlefield. The realm of a great Tao master was definitely at the 19th level. Hongjun, 19th level. He even controlled the world of variables. Even was trapped. Dongfang Bubi, 19th level. With the world of the 20th level, he was already at the peak of the 19th level. Yin Chuan, peak of the 19th level. Now, with the world of the 20th level, recalling the scenes, fate found a terrifying thing. This group of common people was getting stronger and stronger. How could this be? The first era was a great creation, but that was only the world of the 18th level. No, there was a great phoenix supreme who died early in the cycle of reincarnation. In the fourth era, there were 19 levels one after another. If it wasn't for the fact that it was at the 20th level, wouldn't it have been over long ago? Roar. Fate roared with panic. Roar. Yin Chuan also roared. Mobilizing the power of the heavenly way, Yin Chuan's power had reached a peak. It was as if he could use this power to break through at any time. Fate, now is the time of your death. The black dragon roared. Boom! The black dragon charged forward with a loud bang. The black dragon carried endless power. As it flew past, the world of yin and yang seemed to tremble quickly. Boom! The two dragon heads collided, tearing the void apart. Billowing power swept in all directions. The ground below was blown up. The dragon horns collided, neither of them giving way. In terms of power, Yin Chuan was now in a stalemate with fate. What? Fate roared in shock. Fate didn't care that Hongjun had trapped him. After all, Hongjun was just using a trick. Sooner or later, he would break the seal because Hongjun was inferior to him in terms of power. Dongfang Bubi blocked him previously, but it wasn't a stalemate. He was suppressed by fate. But now, Yin Chuan's power was on par with his? On par. Fate hated this feeling. He was invincible. How could someone be on par with him? Roar. Fate roared and continued to exert strength. Roar. Yin Chuan also roared and mobilized the power of 3,000 heavenly paths. The heavenly paths trembled and the world trembled. However, the power of the 20 levels of heaven continued to surge into Yin Chuan's body. Yin Chuan didn't have the upper hand in this clash of pure power. However, Yin Chuan saw that the sarcoma at the front of his body was growing rapidly under the immense pressure. The 20th claw was growing slowly. Yin Chuan's eyes lit up. In Wuji, the others were overjoyed when they saw that Yin Chuan was on par with fate. Good, good, good. Zhongshan said 3 consecutive good words. Lotus God looked at fate with hatred. When she saw that Yin Chuan's power was on par with fate, she clenched her fists and prayed for Yin Chuan. Although the people could only see a vague outline, they understood that the black dragon was Yin Chuan and the golden dragon was fate. The two dragons were on par with each other. Maybe the great emperor can win. Maybe he can defeat fate. Maybe the people can be saved. The world was filled with the sound of prayers. Countless prayers were like a powerful surge of wish power that gathered in Yin Chuan's body across the boundless horizon. The sarcoma in front of the black dragon grew faster and faster. Roar! Fate roared angrily. Boom! Beneath the two dragons, the world was turned upside down. The ground cracked rapidly and formed countless fragments that shot into the sky. 3,000 heavenly paths shone, and the power of the 20 levels of heaven poured into the black dragon's body. Roar! The black dragon didn't give in and roared ferociously. Yin Chuan felt that he was getting stronger and stronger. He continued to persevere and became more and more excited. On the other hand, Fate became more and more anxious. Impossible! You fleshworms! How could your strength have reached such a level? Fate roared, unwilling to accept this. Why not? Fate, the soul of heaven and earth? You're wrong. Every living being is the soul of heaven and earth. It's just that you're the first to be born, so you're the one who took all the good fortune of the world. You're the true dragon, but in fact, every living being is a true dragon. Every living being is the soul of heaven and earth. It's only because there are living beings that heaven and earth has spirituality. Only living beings are the souls of heaven and earth. Yin Chuan said coldly. No, I'm the soul of heaven and earth. No, everyone is a dragon. Everyone is the soul of heaven and earth. Everyone is the spirit of heaven and earth. I also understand why the new world can't give birth to new souls. It is because souls are only the souls of this world. How can other worlds give birth to the souls of this world? How can the souls of this world be born? Everyone is the soul of heaven and earth. Everyone is a dragon. Yin Chuan suddenly said with widened eyes. Chapter 16:13. No, everyone is like a dragon. Everyone is the soul of heaven and earth. Everyone is the spirit of heaven and earth. I also understand why the new world can't give birth to new souls. It's because souls are only the souls of this world. How can other worlds give birth to the souls of this world? How can the souls of this world be born in other worlds? Everyone is the soul of heaven and earth. Everyone is like a dragon. Yin Chuan suddenly said with his eyes wide open. Roar! Ridiculous! The golden dragon anxiously roared. It was unwilling to accept this fact. Boom! The two dragons continued to resist each other. The powerful force was concentrated at the two horns. The force of the stalemate formed a vast lightning prison that enveloped the two peerless powerhouses. Crack, crack, crack. The sarcoma in front of the black dragon grew bigger and bigger. Gradually, there was a sense of breaking the seal. At this moment, the power of the 3,000 ways of the heavens was still pouring power into the black dragon. The power of the common people continued to gather. Yin Chuan almost swept up all the power to resist fate. In the end, fate blocked it and could no longer advance. Impossible roar. Fate roared angrily. His power was pushed to the maximum, but he couldn't suppress the black dragon. He could even feel that the black dragon was getting stronger. Among the 19 colors, there was a 20th color. The 20th color flashed and appeared more and more frequently. Fear flashed in Fate's eyes. This was the rhythm of breaking through the 20th level of heaven. How could this be? The power of the 3,000 ways of the heavens. At this moment, Yin Chuan was in charge of the 3,000 ways of the heavens. The 3,000 ways of the heavens were constantly pouring power into Yin Chuan. This must be it. This couldn't go on. If this continued, Yin Chuan would definitely borrow the power of heaven and earth to reach the 20th level of heaven. At that time, Fate would be completely defeated. No! Fate roared. Boom! Under the huge impact of the two dragons, the dragon claws landed on the ground and pulled a huge trench in the ground below. Rumble! The trench went down. Boom! Piercing through the two worlds, the trench in the world of the living appeared in the world of the netherworld in an instant. The impact of the two dragons seemed to tear the earth in half. Just a little bit more. Ha! New world, 3,000 heavenly Daos. Give me power! Yin Chuan shouted. Boom! In a new world far away, 3,000 heavenly Daos suddenly appeared. Surging power passed through the infinite and charged straight at the black dragon. The new world was created by Yin Chuan. Mobilizing the power of the world was a piece of cake. The power of the two worlds completely poured into Yin Chuan's body. Rumble! Another wave of energy swept over. Yin Chuan's attack became even faster. Boom! At the very front of the black dragon, the tumor suddenly exploded. As it exploded, a dragon claw abruptly emerged. Dragon claw? The 20th dragon claw? The 20th colored light burst out from the black dragon's body in an instant. It shook violently and seemed to be getting stronger and stronger. It wouldn't be long before the 20th colored light stabilized. 20 levels of heaven. Lotus God exclaimed from afar. It wasn't just the Lotus deity. Countless living beings cried out in shock. The 20th heaven? The 20th heaven? Yin Chuan broke through to the 20th heaven? No! Fate screamed in despair. Yin Chuan was already at the 20th heaven. Although it hadn't stabilized yet, it would be stable soon. Once it stabilized, would it be over for him? Fate had always been the strongest. He had never experienced any setbacks. Suddenly, he realized that he was about to lose. In an instant, he panicked. Yin Chuan was at the peak of the 19th heaven. It was nothing. Now, the 20th heaven? In addition, the heavens and earth were at his disposal. How could he defeat him? Was he finished? No! Fate screamed in grief and indignation. Compared to Fate's grief and indignation, the other experts were extremely excited. Yin Chuan was at the 20th heaven. There was no need to be afraid of Fate. There was no need to worry anymore. Fate recalled everything that had happened in the past. He was anxious, jealous, and hateful. I wasted a lot of energy. I prepared for 4 eras. You actually reached the 20th heaven so easily? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I can't accept it. I can't accept it. Fate screamed in despair. Fear, hatred, jealousy, resentment, all kinds of emotions were brewing. Fate went crazy. Boom! Fate knocked Yin Chuan away. He looked at the heaven and earth that was shining with endless light. No, no one can surpass me. No one can. I want all of you to die. I want all of you to die. Fate screamed in grief and indignation. Boom! With a tail, Fate swung toward the earth. Boom! The heaven and earth suddenly trembled. Countless cracks appeared on the earth in an instant. Fate, you're crazy. If the heaven and earth are destroyed, everyone will die. Yin Chuan shouted. Yin Chuan's 20th heaven was a little unstable. The main reason was the power from the 3,000 heavenly Daos. Once the 20th heaven was stabilized, he wouldn't be afraid of Fate. All of you have to die. I wanted all of you to die. New world. There must be something wrong with your new world. That's why all of you want to fight over this heaven and earth. I'll destroy it. Fate said coldly. After it's destroyed, you won't have a place to go. You'll perish in Wuji sooner or later. Yin Chuan shouted. Perish? Then perish. I'd rather perish with you than be destroyed by you. Destiny roared. Perish together? You're crazy. Yin Chuan shouted. Oomph. You're blocking me. Naturally, I can't transcend. Sooner or later, I'll be destroyed. Sooner or later, I'll die. I'd rather perish together. Even if I die, I won't let all of you get away with it. All of you die. Ha ha ha. Fate said malevolently. Boom. The huge dragon tail slammed into the earth again. Roar. Yin Chuan was enraged. He rushed forward and collided with Fate. Boom. The two dragons collided and once again caused a great deal of destruction. However, Yin Chuan had blocked his fate. You haven't stabilized your 20th heaven yet. If you do, I won't have a chance. Oomph, 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 oomph. The golden dragon stood up ferociously. Common people, raise your right hands and lend me your strength. Yin Chuan shouted. Yin Chuan's voice spread throughout the new world. Without hesitation, the common people quickly raised their right hands. Boom! Boom! Surging power rushed into the sky as if it had crossed time and space. In the blink of an eye, it entered Yin Chuan's body. Boom! Boom! Yin Chuan blocked fate again and again. This battle lasted for 10 days and 10 nights. After 10 days and 10 nights, Yin Chuan still had 19 colors. The 20th color flickered intensely and still had not stabilized. However, fate became more and more anxious during these 10 days. You don't have time to stabilize your cultivation? You can't stop me. Fate roared angrily. However, Yin Chuan did not care at all. He continued to block fate and destroy the world. At this moment, the two worlds of yin and yang had already shattered. However, under the protection of the 3,000 heavenly Daos, they still did not collapse. Fate became more and more anxious. Yin Chuan was about to reach the 20th heaven. Was it over? No, if they were to die, they would die together. Fate, don't struggle, don't resist. I can allow you to continue living in the world. Yin Chuan shouted. Ha ha ha, I don't need it. I don't need it at all. You still want to lie to me now? Ha, die. Let's die together. Fate roared. As it roared, Fate did not continue to attack Yin Chuan. Instead, its entire body suddenly shone with golden light. An extremely terrifying aura spread out. The golden dragon expanded and then contracted. What are you doing? Yin Chuan shouted in shock. The golden dragon revealed a sinister smile. What am I doing? I said die. Everyone has to die. You want to self-destruct? Yin Chuan shouted in shock. As he spoke, Yin Chuan suddenly flew backward. As he flew backward, he used all his strength to activate the cypress tree and connect the 3,000 heavenly Daos. Ha 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 ha. When the world is destroyed, you will also be destroyed. Everyone has to die. Everyone has to die. Fate said ruthlessly. Boom. Fate of the 20th heaven self-destructed the world. Even the world could not withstand the powerful energy. In an instant, it exploded. The billowing energy swept in all directions of Wuji. Wuji was enveloped by the huge explosion. The huge wave hit, and Zhongshan and the others in the distance were instantly sent flying. The entire new world was also affected by the huge impact. It shook continuously. The old world had exploded. The old world had been destroyed. The common people were panicking as they stared at the explosion in the distance. Was it all over? Fate's explosion had destroyed everything. Had it destroyed the hope of the common people? Had everything returned to nothingness? Had everything disappeared? Who could withstand the self-destruction of the 20th heaven? Who could withstand it? It's over? Lotus Goddess said bitterly. That's it? The Emperor also said bitterly. Zhongshan's eyelids twitched as if he was unwilling to accept this fact. The common people had worked hard for their entire lives, but this was the result? Perishing together? Fate, this lunatic, this lunatic. Almost everyone was howling in despair. The ruins of the explosion slowly cleared up after 3 days and 3 nights. Wuji melted countless fragments of the world. Everything was heading towards destruction. A phantom appeared in the ruins. It was the phantom of fate, the phantom of the 20-clawed golden dragon. This was fate. It had released all its power, and only this weak phantom was left. Ha 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 ha. The world has exploded. Die. Everyone die. Fate's phantom said with a ferocious expression. In Wuji, Fate's phantom was about to be melted. However, Fate felt that it was worth it. Everything was worth it. It had destroyed the world and the common people. Yin Chuan's voice came from another pile of ruins in the distance. Cough, 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 cough. Ha 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 ha. Yin Chuan laughed loudly. He looked over and saw a black dragon riddled with holes. Large chunks of the black dragon's flesh had exploded, revealing eerie white bones. Its dragon horns were broken. At this moment, it was extremely weak. The black dragon was Yin Chuan. Behind Yin Chuan was a cypress tree. Above the cypress tree were 3,000 fragments of the world that looked like stars. The black dragon quickly recovered from its injuries. Yin Chuan, you're not dead yet? When the world exploded, you escaped. However, so what? Without this world, all of you will die. Ha ha. Fate's phantom said, growing weaker. However, the black dragon turned its head and flew over again. The remaining divine power continuously nourished its body, recovering its physical body. Gradually, the black dragon's body began to recover. Gradually, it completely recovered. Although it was still extremely weak, it was no longer riddled with holes. 19 claws? 19 claws? Fate suddenly exclaimed. The black dragon that Yin Chuan transformed into only had 19 claws. Didn't he grow 20 claws earlier? Why was it still 19 claws? were the newly grown claws. That's right. You didn't see wrong. 19 claws. Yinchuan guffawed. How can this be? How can it be 19 claws? Weren't you at the 20th heaven just now? Weren't you at the 20th heaven just now? Fate's phantom exclaimed. You saw wrong. I have always been 19 claws. Yinchuan said with a smile. Saw wrong? That's impossible. How could I see wrong? Fate's phantom exclaimed. Then, Fate's phantom came to a realization. You lied to me? You lied to me? You can't break through to the 20th heaven at all. You pretended to be at the 20th heaven. You lied to me. You lied to me? Fate's phantom exclaimed. In the distance, Zhongshan, Emperor, Lotus Goddess, and the others widened their eyes. Yinchuan, what he said about the 20 levels of heaven was fake. Did he deceive everyone? Lotus Deity asked, slightly stunned. I was wondering how he could reach the 20th heaven. So it was fake? Yinchuan lied to fate. He tricked him into exploding? Emperor said excitedly. Ha ha ha. Zhongshan laughed. Many people among the common people were at a loss. At this moment, fate was the most indignant. 20th heaven? No, Yinchuan was only at the 19th heaven. Did he deliberately grow a prosthetic limb to deceive fate? Yinchuan mobilized the power of the heavenly way, the wishes of the common people, and the power of the common people. It was impossible for him to persist indefinitely. Fate was at the 20th heaven. If he continued fighting, Yinchuan would be defeated sooner or later. However, Yinchuan lied to him. If he persevered, he would win sooner or later. He would definitely win. However, he was fooled. Fooled? No. Fate's heart was filled with even more grievance than before. He could have won, but he self-exploded. Now he had no power, no support from the heavens and earth. He would soon melt into Wuji. He was fooled by Yinchuan. Liar. Yinchuan, you are a liar. Fate roared in despair. Fate, you have completely lost. The common people have won. Black Dragon said in a low voice. As he spoke, Black Dragon's body swayed and turned into a human again. The cypress tree behind Yinchuan rotated. Above the cypress tree, there were 3,000 stars. So what? The heavens and earth have been destroyed. You all can wait for death. Fate said stubbornly. Wait for death. Ha ha ha. Yinchuan laughed loudly. What? Fate looked at Yinchuan. Yinchuan waved his hand. Above the cypress tree, the 3,000 stars quickly absorbed the surrounding ruins. What is that? Fate shouted. This is the 3,000 stars created by Invincible East. They are the 3,000 heavenly ways. They are the origin of the heavens and earth. As long as they exist, the heavenly ways exist. Yinchuan said. What? The ruins of the old world completely disappeared. Some were melted by Wuji, while some were absorbed into the 3,000 stars. I have seen through everything. Therefore, with these 3,000 stars, new souls can be born in the new world. Yinchuan said. Impossible, no. Fate said in despair. Then, Fate's expression changed. Ah, Yinchuan, you will follow my path. Sooner or later, you will destroy the world or be destroyed by the world. Oh, I am different from you. Yinchuan sneered. As he said that, Yinchuan reached out and grabbed. The new world quickly flew over from afar. At this moment, Fate was weak and could not do any damage at all. Tao begets 1, 1 begets 2, 2 begets 3, 3 begets all things. Yinchuan waved his hand to the new world. Boom! The new world seemed to soften quickly. Gradually, it seemed to be in the shape of a liquid droplet. Buzz! The new world seemed to have undergone a fission and became 2. Then 2 became 4, 4 became 8, and quickly became more and more. Not long after, 3,000 new worlds appeared in Wuji. They were exactly the same. Under the cypress tree's control, the 3,000 stars quickly merged into a new world. Boom! Each world suddenly bloomed with endless dazzling light. Endless auspicious signs appeared. The 3,000 new worlds quickly grew and expanded again. A new soul, great emperor, a new soul is born. A cheer came from the first world. Ha ha! Yinchuan laughed. What are you trying to do? Fate's eyes were full of confusion. The 3,000 stars merged into the 3,000 new worlds. These 3,000 new worlds will be perfect and restored to their original state. The people can live, reincarnate, and be reborn. The cycle of the heavenly Tao will be endless. I will not forcibly command the 3,000 worlds. Everyone is qualified to fight for the top. Everyone is like a dragon, Yin Chuan said with a smile. Everyone is like a dragon? Everyone is like a dragon? Fate's eyes were full of disbelief. Yin Chuan actually gave up on controlling the people. Yin Chuan created the world and could take the well-being of the people. He could take the opportunities of the people. Everything was Yin Chuan's. He actually gave it up. Moreover, by creating the 3,000 worlds, everyone has a chance. You are an idiot. Fate roared. Everyone is like a dragon. Only then will the 3,000 worlds be more prosperous. The heroes who were destroyed by you in the past. Hong Jun, Mingyi, Fuxi, Dongfang Bubi, Bai Wang, great Qi supremacy, great virtue supremacy, great Tao supremacy, great Phoenix supreme. All of them will ascend and return. They have sacrificed so much for the people. When they ascend and return, they can obtain a piece of heaven and earth. They can become a true dragon of heaven and earth. Everyone has a chance to become a true dragon. Everyone has a chance. Yin Chuan laughed. Idiot, idiot. Fate was about to go crazy. Everyone can reach their own heights. Everyone has a chance. 3,000 worlds, each with a true dragon, ascend and return. Yin Chuan, I got it. Fate suddenly laughed. Then, Fate seemed to have let go of his resistance, allowing Wuji to quickly melt him. Umph. Yin Chuan suddenly snorted. Buzz! A beam of black light shot straight at Fate. Boom! The black light instantly bound his Fate. What are you doing? Yin Chuan, what are you doing? Fate roared. You want to ascend and return? Yin Chuan laughed. Everyone is like a dragon. Everyone has a chance. If you ascend and are reborn, you will definitely become a member of the people. With your cultivation level of level 20, even if you lose your memory, you will definitely be able to reach your current height again after 1,000,000 years. Tell me, will I let you return to heaven and earth? Yin Chuan sneered. Yin Chuan? Fate's expression was extremely ugly. Since the 3,000 heavenly Tao existed, Fate hoped that he could be reborn and then destroy the people. Unfortunately, Yin Chuan saw through it. I won't let you immortalize. I want you to be trapped here for all eternity. Yin Chuan said coldly. Boom! The world-suppressing copper coffin suddenly appeared. From now on, you'll be sealed in this coffin. Yin Chuan said. The world-suppressing copper coffin instantly covered Fate's shadow. Bang! The coffin lid closed. His Fate was completely trapped. Carrying the coffin to establish the country, the hope of the people. The people are saved. Grandpa, I did it. Yin Chuan laughed. He waved his hand. Rumble. The giant coffin quickly transformed, and gradually, it turned into a massive bronze dragon. The dragon chariot is still missing one of the 9 dragons. You will be the 9th dragon, Yin Chuan said. Roar. The bronze dragon roared. Boom. The Qinglong dragon rushed into the first heaven and earth and went straight for Yin Chuan's dragon chariot. At the dragon chariot, the 8 dragons looked at the starry sky blankly. Lao Jiao is actually Fate? Dragon 5th said in surprise. Each of the 9 dragons had extraordinary origins, each stronger than the other. However, they were all pulling Yin Chuan's chariot, so their mentality was not bad. It was just that the 9 dragons had been together for a long time, and they would be arranged in order. First, second, third, until the current Lao Jiao. Seeing the appearance of the bronze dragon, almost all the dragons were stunned. The great emperor is too awesome. After holding it in for a long time, the 7 demons said again. Above the starry sky, Yin Chuan saw Fate. Looking at the vibrant 3,000 worlds, for a moment, he was in a good mood. Turning his head to look at the variable world in the distance. It was broken by Fate and was about to collapse at this moment. Only when there are variables can it become a great number. Variable world, condense. Yin Chuan shouted. Boom! The original variable world suddenly condensed again, and everything returned to normal. It formed a small ball. Yin Chuan waved his hand, and the small ball flew into the 3,000 worlds. Under Yin Chuan's control, no one knew which world it flew into, but in any case, it entered one of the 3,000 worlds. Those who are fated will get it. Yin Chuan smiled. Turning his head, Yin Chuan flew to Zhongshan. At this moment, Zhongshan laughed. He was in a good mood. Yin Chuan also laughed. Zhongshan, you and I each choose a world. As for the other worlds, move the people as soon as possible. Let everything develop on its own. There's a chance. Everyone is a dragon. Yin Chuan smiled. Okay. Zhongshan smiled. Yin Chuan, Zhongshan, Emperor, and the others quickly returned to the world. Long live, long live, long live. Long live, long live, long live, long live. The people cheered. Fate was sealed. The people were saved. Everything was saved, and the future was even better. Everyone was like a dragon, endlessly living and immortal. The world was jubilant. Yin Chuan became the faith of the people. 1,000,000 years later, the peerless experts immortalized and returned. One by one, the worlds began to prosper again. Although new realm lords were gradually forming in the various realms, none of them could forget Yin Chuan, the strongest immortal emperor of the immortal empire. Chapter 16:14. The great emperor of the celestial kingdom continued immortality. After more than a year, it finally came to an end. When I first started the book, I was full of confidence and wanted to create another grand world. Unfortunately, Guanxi made a few mistakes. First, the material selection was not firm enough. Due to various reasons, it was changed to a sequel to Immortality. After all, there were more readers of Immortality at that time, and Guanxi's beliefs were shaken. Thus, a scam came. The sequel did not matter. The main thing was that the main character became a supporting character, and the supporting character became the main character. From the Legend of the Condor Heroes to the Legend of the Condor Heroes, although Guijing became a supporting character, the main character was a new character, Yanghua, and not Yangkong from the Condor Heroes. Immortality and the great emperor of immortal kingdoms were similar to Guijing's and Yangkang's. Thus, for the first time in this book, there was a scene that shocked me. Those who liked Zhongshan and those who liked Yin Chuan started arguing in the comments. At that time, Guanxi was really anxious. This scene was stressful. People who liked Zhongshan slandered Yin Chuan. Those who liked Yin Chuan were also unwilling to pass on their responsibility to others. Zhongshan was completely discredited, watching the chess game in front of the wall until dawn. So conflicted. Then, regarding Yin Chuan's character, I originally wanted to write about how he was resourceful, slowly laying out some plots and schemes. However, as soon as I laid out the plot, Yin Chuan didn't seem to be as neat and clean as he was in Immortal. After all, some schemes needed some long foreshadowing. Because the character attributes in the previous book were fixed, this book could not change the character attributes. It could only make some changes. Thus, Guanxi was helpless and had to give up some advantages. The Imperial War and the War of Commerce were not exciting enough. Then, the world's framework, such as the ranking of divine beasts and the ranking of mystical abilities, had to continue immortality. It cannot be innovated. In helplessness, there was no big innovation. I'm ashamed to face everyone. The main framework was fixed and could not be changed. As for the Celestial Empire's Heavenly Emperor, Guanxi wasn't too satisfied. Guanxi's choice of materials wasn't good enough, and he felt like he was relying on his own hard work. However, at the end of the book, there was no turning back. He could only grit his teeth and continue forward. His way of thinking about chess was to be free and unfettered. Guanxi tried his best. Unfortunately, he felt a little sorry for his friends who liked chess books. Although the book had a perfect ending, it did not reach a higher level. He felt a little regretful. Let's talk about the new book. Speaking of the new book, the Celestial Nation Emperor had already been thinking about it since the very beginning. It was different from the system of 1 life, 2 luck, 3 feng shui, for accumulation of virtue and 5 study, a novel with a new ideology. It was a book that Guanxi really wanted to write. It would cover a wide range of topics. While the new book was refreshing, it would also contain some truly useful knowledge and ideas that needed to be thought about. Therefore, Guanxi had to search for a large amount of information and collect it properly. The new book required a lot of knowledge. The new book will be uploaded in about 2 to 3 months after the new year. In the next 2 to 3 months, Guanxi would first rest for a period of time. Then, he would look up all kinds of information and save some manuscripts. When the time came, he would not be flustered. The content of the new book will be different from the previous books. Please keep the specific content a secret. Guanxi would definitely not disappoint everyone. Please look forward to it. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.